Hello, how's everyone doing tonight? All right, quick sound check here, make sure everything sounds okay. I think I was a little hot on the last episode, but I was glad that at least you could hear what I was saying a little bit easier for once. So let me see. Hopefully, yeah, there we go. That sounds pretty good. All right. Hey, Hoff here. Welcome to Hoffcast. Tonight, I have an awesome guest coming up, and I'll get more to him very shortly. It's going to be a great episode. First thing I got to do, just real quick, gotta plug the old, gotta plug the old Hoffcast.com right here. Go to Hoffcast.com, bosses, and check out the website that I work on a little bit at a time. But you can always find where the next stream is going to be. It's right there. So if you can't find it on YouTube and you want to find out where it is where it is right here, the one we're watching right now. So yeah, check out Hoffcast.com. You can contact me at the bottom through Instagram or Twitter. And of course, my YouTube page is there as well. So definitely check out Hoffcast.com if you're interested. Please subscribe to the channel if you want to keep seeing videos like this, or be part of it even. So here we go. If he's ready, now have him on. There he is. All right. I would like to welcome a very special guest. He's been a long-time watcher of Hoffcast. I've talked to him many times in backstage chats, and I've just found his stories to be so interesting, his truths and his life just to be fascinating. And I think he needs to get his story out. I think it's important he talks about it and more people know about these things that are going on. And the way he shares his experiences, I feel like is easy to connect with him, and he's very good at making that connection with his listener. So I'm happy to have him on. Everyone welcome Mr. Fifth 90. How you doing, bud? How you doing, brother?
Doing all right. Yeah, same old stuff.
I'm already doing it. I'm going to try to not talk over you tonight. I'm going to ask some questions and whatnot. But like I said earlier, if I talk over you, just say, shut up, Hoff, let me talk. And I'm fine with that.
Yeah, no problem. So, same here.
Same here. And we'll probably talk to the chat a little bit, of course. I like talking to my chat every now and then. If they have a question, we might talk to them. By the way, I have a new shirt. It says... let me see here. I have a new shirt. It says "Make friends in the comments." Yeah, so do that. Do what my shirt says. Anyways, go ahead, Fifth. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Wherever you want to start with things, you just go ahead, and the floor is yours, man.
Well, just shoot. Just about mind control, brain stuff that's going on. Whether it's like people want to say it's spiritual, something more natural, or is it something like a mix of both where you need some sort of technology done, or whatever is going on, to be exact. Because with me, it's more like I feel I have like some sort of brain chip or some sort of technology done to my brain. And where I feel it's more done is like in this area. And that's where I feel like a lot of the most pain and stuff these last 4 years. And I haven't really felt pain like that like ever. Just I've had headaches and stuff like that, but this pain is more like different. It's not like in the front of my head like regular headaches or stuff like that. It's just more like in a certain spot back there, and that's why
I was just about to ask you, how long has this been going on? You mentioned 4 years. So do you know like when that started, when it might have happened?
Well, the pain wise, I noticed it's been mostly like the 4 years, and that's been like after I reached out to the FBI. I was trying to reach out to lawyers and attorneys, and stuff wasn't happening. So as soon as I was thinking of traveling across the country to the Supreme Court to protest, it was just seems like that's where I was getting like more pain and all other stuff that was happening that it was just couldn't explain, didn't really notice, and that stuff before that. So it's just weird of how stuff is actually done to me and me not know. It's basically scary, like because of the amount of stuff that I've gone through and experiences and stuff that I'll say. It's just it's just pretty crazy. Like other people know what's going on and stuff with my body that I don't. So in a way, it's like if I was tone deaf or actually deaf or stuff like that. So that's why looking up on my ends, just just these past 4 years, because I was working and just a lot of weird stuff when I wasn't working, just stuff I was thinking about and people were answering or seemed to react off of. And even if it just now it's just like, well, if it's not my thoughts, then who else is it? And then why is it the way it is? Like so many things, like hearing voice to skull technology and all this other stuff within movies that have like where you could read the minds or manipulate the body in some sort of way. So that's why being not being aware of the stuff, it trips me out to know and realize that now. And it's like, well, there's certain movies and certain people of why made things ended up being the way it was, whether it was something good or bad, or somebody famous or somebody not. I mean, depends on people's fame. Somebody famous to me could be like somebody on ESPN and stuff like that, just one of those regular analysis people. I mean, it's somebody cool to me and stuff like that, but it's somebody that I've seen. But that's why with all this stuff, yeah, I could just start anywhere. Is there anything you want to ask me, or?
Yeah, I do have a question for you real quick. Just want to say hi to the bosses in the chat. Jess Boswell, what's up? Jimmy Hoffa and Trumpy Bear, how you doing tonight? So glad to have you. This is going to be a great episode, so make sure you stay tuned. We have a lot to talk about. I mean, you just already with the last couple sentences you just said, just brought up a lot of questions in my mind. But I did have one that I was thinking of. Do you know if there was an incident when this might have happened? Like, did it just happen? Like, you just kind of woke up one day and like it was there, or was like, do you think there was something that might have interfered in your life that did this to you?
Well, just one thing that I could remember, which is kind of big and just like weird. That's why I just being more as like around 20, it was like 2012 or so, or 2010, more around 2010. That's when I noticed like something weird, but not really. It was just more like in general, like people seem to be talking about me in a way, but nothing like too weird, like what it is now. But other than that, the only thing I could think of is if I did something when I was a kid, like, well, I'll say it here, which you probably get a lot of hate for, is just when I was little, something happened to where what I feel somebody just thought I was a danger and did something when I was asleep or whatever it may be. Because I remember when I was a kid, I had got scratched from a cat on my hand, and it just never had anything like that. Just ended up being mad, and I just put the cat in a box and I kicked it, and I was mad. And when I was done, I just looked at the cat and I wasn't expecting it to not like, stop breathing. So that's what it hurt me, just not realizing that. And being a kid made me just, suck. I didn't know uh, what to make of it besides just that, I got hurt. I felt bad. I didn't know the cat died. I love the cat, but it's just, I was maybe,
Well, at
I
least you
was
felt
either just
remorse
starting
afterwards,
elementary.
like.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's just like if something like that was said, and then like my mom or anybody else was like, "Oh, maybe he could have been a danger. He killed this cat. We don't know why. Maybe he could do it to a person." So maybe that's why I feel like something was done to my brain. And if
Wow.
not,
Wow,
yeah,
that is wow, man.
because
That's
just hearing like people are worried about getting roofied today and stuff like that, whether you're a guy or girl, it's just like, well, what if that was done to me as a kid? People don't know or want to try some experimental technology, is like something like that, to where if
Do you
it's
think
not
there are
that,
more people like you out there?
I
Do you
believe
think there's
so.
a lot of people
One,
out there like that, or
I
just
believe
maybe a few? Or
I know one for sure because I looked up and I saw his channel and saw his video, and he mentioned the same exact stuff I did, to where that one I could trust, even though I can't find his profile no more. So just because of certain stuff, I'm not sure. Like maybe he's gone, or maybe he took it down. Somebody told him some stuff, so they're like, "All right, don't speak about it no more." Because I'm in the
mm.
position of not being told anything besides people doing what they do in public to make me feel weird, or I guess like what's been said, paranoid. But it just seems like, well, if I'm paranoid, then why does everyone seem to react or act up? And I'm like, and I'm going through this like a lot, like almost on a daily, to where it's like, am I the crazy one, or is somebody else being like, trying to make me
That's
go
gotta be
crazy?
like a really lonely feeling sometimes, I imagine. you know, just
Yeah,
to think that like you might be like the only person experiencing this, even though you got to know that if you're one, there's got to be more. There has to be, you know what I mean? In my opinion,
yeah.
personally, that's
So
what I
I
think.
don't want
But
to say the name, but I mean the dude's name it rhymed with George Lopez, the guy that I saw. It rhymes with that. I don't want to give out the real name because I'm not sure how things are going, but that's why just looking at that name, that person, he was just in a park walking and he was talking about people following him and reading his mind or his thoughts, and they would do stuff to him or try to act up or whatever it is. And he just did his little video, and I reached out to him, tried to message, see. And I guess remembering now, I think it was in San Diego where that person was. So it was just something to where I was like, all right, I'm looking up uh, mind reading stuff like that, and this actual video came up, but I haven't seen him since or anything. That's why just looking up other stuff, I found other things relating to that possibility, and it just has to be what I feel. If it's not a chip, then what kind of technology, or do you at least need something metal in your head for your brain to be used like as a receiver in a way, like any type of radio and stuff like that? And that's why that's why I kind of just the way to put it is just I don't know, like a cell phone device in a way, or
mhm.
just like in a computer to be exact, like in your head. To where it's like in a way it's more like a speaker from what I've been through, to where people are hearing stuff off of my head or my own thoughts, and people have been going about my life as that, or just like, oh, I can't speak or whatever it
So
is.
who
To
are
where,
these people? Do you think I could be able to do that? Like, because I don't
well,
think I
you
could. Like,
probably
I don't
know.
think I could read your mind if I were to like pass you on the street. Do you think there are
It's
certain
just
people,
about
like
like,
government or something, doing it, or like?
yeah, it's just like when somebody allows it to, like like if you turn on a light switch, it's like somebody, like what I figured, it's electrodes, or in whatever way it is, you turn on the switch, and then things are on. Like I could be normal, fine, but if somebody turns stuff on in a weird way, I don't really feel stuff until I guess it gets shut off, to where it feels like there's a static or some sort of like a noise in a way that's going around my head or inside my brain in a way, but then it like stops, to where it's like, all right, somebody must be hearing my thoughts, or it's open like a speaker. But the weird thing is, like people where I've been and protested, even in Sacramento, I see people reacting or telling me to shush or, be quiet, to where I know it's coming directed towards me. I just know it is, because why is that going to happen at several random places that I go to? And it's coming from either people who look like they're homeless, somebody in law enforcement, or somebody who may be working with the church or whatever it is. Because that's why I'm not told anything. So I can't really trust whether good or bad, or what is the main intentions besides, all right, if I'm not being told anything, it just makes me feel like I'm just being used as some science project. I'm just being used as some data for the next person that gets used, because supposedly I'm not the greatest person. I didn't be perfect from growing up until now. So it's almost like, well, let's go and pick who we want to be as that person, to be the brain the brain chip spokesperson in a
Mhm.
way, just like, oh, well, we have many actors applying for this commercial or this movie, this role. We want to pick this one. So it's like almost I don't fit in a way, to where, yeah, certain stuff, a certain life, if I had a job or had college stuff going or certain other things, it's almost like, well, maybe things would have been better, or like random stuff, just live your life. Maybe if I were to not try to find out what's going on with my head and just try to go on with my life like I try to do, was go to college and get my body in shape for baseball, to literally give a legit shot at tryouts to see if I can make it. So going like that is just like, well, I don't want to really go into something like that, because if there's something with my head to make other people hear my thoughts, or it's not even my own thoughts, I'm going to be treated in a way, and in a way I should have been told, because not only do I feel like it's messed up my life and my family around me growing up to treat me a certain way or not normal, it's also affected other people, to where either they treated me normal, whether it's nice or messed up, from like a lot of stuff I get. Either somebody was saying racist stuff in my head, or saying I hate somebody, or I'm gonna kill, something like that. Because the experiences that I've been through just makes me feel like, oh, well, he's dumb, he's gonna forget, and it's gonna be on to the next day, like the movie 50 First Dates. Drew Barrymore, whatever
Yeah, I
happened,
know that one.
her accident, every day she wakes up and it's the same thing until Adam Sandler tried to wake her up or show her and do something more rather than the whole family just, going along with the stuff because of what's said or what they feel. And that's why it's just another thing of it's
See,
not something dangerous. It had to been either something was said about me to be a certain disability to where that was probably why so I was maybe helped out if it's a blessing instead of a curse to where maybe a church was like, oh, we could do this and we could help them out. This is what we know and this is whatever it is. But that's why there's many stuff I don't know. It's just I've been through some experience that I mean shouldn't be possible these past couple years, and then other stuff like I mean I, it's just weird.
can I
It's
get to
so
the
weird to
chat for
not
a
know
second?
when stuff is
I've
done.
been writing down questions. Can I get to the chat real quick? Just want to
Yeah,
say
go
hi to
ahead.
them. And in chat,
Yeah,
say hi to Fifth. We're lucky to have him on tonight. We're very, very lucky to have him.
yeah.
So
Hello,
let
Kat.
me see here.
Hello, everybody.
Nick says, howdy. How you doing, Nick? Glad you're here. Trumpy Bear says, Fifth shades are cold as ice. Yeah, I know. I'm a little upset that there's someone on here with cooler shades than me tonight. So a little, he's kind of the king of the shades tonight, but I'll allow it since he's my guest. So. There's our sweet shades though, man, for sure. I've been thinking about getting some new ones, kind of like that, more like the reflective ones, because spring and summer's coming up. I'm gonna need them.
Yeah, I never saw these. That's why I jumped on them before they're gone.
Nick said, "Don't worry about that, cat. He sold crack to preschoolers allegedly. He's just making a joke there."
Yeah, thanks for reading that because it reminds me to go off of other stuff with that. I could have easily forgot about other stuff to add on to that.
I'm writing down notes of things because I easily forget. So I got a post-it note here, and I just kind of like jot things down as I go. I found that comes in handy for me because I'm a forgetful guy. Terry, Chrissy, cooking supper. Huh? What you cooking tonight? Mr. Hugh, hello. I'm glad you're here. Mitz, how are you doing tonight? I'm glad you're here. We are going to be doing an after show after the show. After
show.
After party hangout after the show. If anyone's interested, we don't really have a time we're going to. Right, we're just kind of. I think we're just playing it by ear. We're going to be talking for a little while here, though. So, but I'll definitely give you the heads up before the end of the show, and let you know when I'm going to be sending the invite out there for anyone who wants to hang out after the show. Who else here? LaSween, what's up? Kindly mindy, the 5th of 90. The Almighty. Cheers, brother. Wow, that was a nice poem for him. Wow.
Good.
Thanks, LaSween.
That's a good little bar right there.
Chrissy's write that down and put it on a plaque on your wall. Chrissy says steaks. Oh, I'm jealous. All right. Anyways, let's get back to the show. Thank you all, bosses, for being here. Hit the thumbs up if you haven't already for my guest. Not for me. It helps me, obviously, but I mean, do it for him. We're getting a lot of likes here, and that means that they're really enjoying the show, I think. So I'll actually we'll take a question from the chat. I think Trumpy Bear's asking, do you think aliens could be behind implanting something in people's heads? Would you like to answer that one?
Yeah. I would say I don't believe it's aliens now, maybe more so before the government decided to acknowledge them. That's why it's kind of just weird because all the stories, everything, aliens aren't real and all this and people's lives getting ruined to where now they say it's real. Where it's like, well, if it wasn't for that, I would say I would believe so. Because just like other shows, South Park, there was one, it was a funny one how they did it, but you get anal probe. So
Yeah,
it's
I
like
remember
aliens come and Cartman's over here anal probed and stuff. And
it just keep flying out of his ass like randomly.
And it was like a satellite or something, but whatever it is, it's just I would think it'd be so, but just knowing and other things with NASA being most likely or allegedly not as credible as they were or thought, at least I thought they were, just like many things growing up, not knowing things, just everything just like, oh, well, I can't trust this or this isn't as good as what it was. And many other things like that. But
in my opinion, I
I
find
would,
out like the older I get, the more I admit that I don't know things. So I can't like so my opinions don't necessarily like change from one side to another. They just become kind of more up in the air. Like, oh, I'm not smart enough to know things about
yeah,
certain things, so I can't really make a sound informed decision on something I'm not well enough informed on personally. So I feel like the
yeah,
older I get,
especially to mandate
the less I'm
everything.
more certain. You know.
Believe, yeah, just to believe, oh, just like you got to believe in the globe or you got to believe in the flat earth. It's just like if you're not sure, but you're going to go and say, well, you got to believe it this way and that's it. I mean, it kind of sucks because just like hearing from in a way like that, just one doctor or scientist was talking about how his way of thinking and how somebody else's way of thinking in a different field, but how it goes together. It was just weird as like if you were to teach him or to train him on how he thinks and looks at stuff, it would probably mess him up in a way to where now the way he's trained is going to be like a little bit different. He's going to be open, I guess, in a way to more different things, or at least kind of like with the aliens and stuff. Is like I was open to it. There's a guy, Bob Lazar, who supposed to
Yeah, yeah.
worked on those aircrafts to re-engineer. So it's just something like that to where if it's aliens, then well, the way the world is, like I said, is just like why would they want to invade us? Like we're over here doing all this crap. Like why would they want to come down? Like why would they want to come and really invade us or do anything unless there's something good? But that's why just hearing other things, I believe it's more people now with that, just because of hearing
Mm.
people were, or that's why it sucks to go and knowing a lot of things of people being targeted is mentally ill or what's considered physically or mentally disabled in ways. And whether it's something that you could easily tell in a person or somebody maybe diagnosed or lied or whatever it could be, because it seems like those could have been used from a story I heard were used to like fake alien crashes or certain stuff like that. It was just to make people think they're like aliens or anything like that. To where, I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. You're not really gonna pick your best person to go, kind of like what it seems today. They're not, well, they're not the best people picked, but they do seem to have control over those people that ones that actually do stuff today. But that's why it's I don't know, it's I don't know, pretty weird and to think about because if we haven't been to the moon and stuff, aliens and that travel, then how are we traveling if we're not in our bodies? Or if there's aliens, they're what they're calling aliens, did people already create a certain body type to make it? So like what I figured in a way, which is satellites and computers, to where it felt like with my own experience, like my soul or conscious, or in a way was switched to the satellite to where it felt like I was out of my own body and was
Mm.
zoomed up into space or where have you. To where what if you could do that into some body you create in the lab, to where you just put that, that little chip on it or whatever it is that will make that living thing work, to where you could read it however it does its stuff, and you could go and make it to the next part. Because if it is
That's
water
mind
or
blowing.
different, yeah, because if it is a different water, like the firmament or whatever it is, if that's true, it's just like a different water or just whatever type of plasma, then you would need something different if we can't make it. But it is weird, like if satellites were actually able to make it past, because watching this guy um, makes me question it now. Like maybe satellites aren't as real or going to out in space as like by Mars as what they say they are, because on my experience, it's just weird to think that's possible. Because it just was like if I was sleeping in my room, and it was like if I was seeing my body zoomed out from like if you're on Google Maps and you just zoomed out real quick, but it just felt like I was experiencing my own body just being zoomed out all the way into space until it was just nothing, just pitch black. And all I saw was like those gray aliens that's like literally known that you see with those eyes and
Hmm.
just the gray small little bodies or long, tall, whatever it is. It was one of those ones, but it's like a smaller one, regular gray alien holding a box in its hand, just a regular like squared box, 4x4 little box, and it literally closed the box on what I came out of. So that's what it was, just creepy to where it's like if that was like true and natural or what have you, is like it's weird. It's like I experienced my soul or conscious being sucked out of my body to a place to where it was just nothing but a gray alien holding a box in his hand, and it closed it.
So you said you don't necessarily believe in aliens, but you saw this vision of an alien, basically. So you
Yeah,
don't know if
that,
it's legit or not, or if it was just kind of something that was kind of like
that's why I know I
projected.
experienced it. Is it
Mm.
something like real, or like I figured, like with whatever governments or criminal stuff that's not government, if they're not known about doing what they're doing, because with that, it knows like how else, if that's real alien, okay, then somebody must have seen it, they knew it. All right, that's real truth out there. There's an alien that really looks like that. If not, it's something that somebody created, they knew it, they see it in real life, and they somehow did their own little video or show to program it into my head when I was asleep to make me believe whatever it is that I saw. So instead of real,
Wow.
it's just like you already have a program ready, 7 o'clock, 7:30, like today. I mean, it's live, but if you wanted, you could have had a video clip or whatever ready to play at that time. So it's just like that. You know exactly what's going to be shown. So it's like, well, somebody could program just like a video game, anything. All right,
And
hit play, hit the switch on. All right, there's the experience. We'll just say it's a natural dream, and that's where I know. And I'm not sure if I know somebody could see it in certain ways, I'm pretty sure, but I'm not sure exactly who or if just regular family can, because that's where I know certain family and other people, regardless of how nice or whatever it did to make me feel a little hurt, was just they had to have been told something or lied about, or if they could see something, they're believing something else. Because just that fact alone, like not told anything. I mean, it sounds pretty logical to me. Like somebody has a program to put something in my head like that, to where another experience is with my daughter, and that's where I know other things are more planned out, or they could be live in a way. Because I was sleeping out of nowhere, it's just like I'm awake. That's why one thing that somebody put it pictured or said it nicely was like, you can see what's going on, you can see the shapes or whatever, but in a way you don't see the color. So I could see that there's a person on a staircase, I could see the stairs going down, and they had a doll in their hand and they're shaking it, and they're shaking this doll in their hand, and they go to throw it down the stairs, and they say my daughter's name, and then I wake up with my daughter and she has her hands on my face. So with that, it made me like freak out in a way, or from what I remember, it was like I didn't know what to make of it. I just know I just had a dream, and my daughter was there. As soon as I heard her name in my sleep, dream, whatever it was, she was right there with her hands on my face. Where
wow.
nobody told me anything about my sleep. So it's like, what is she told, or what is she here for her to do that? Because she's never done that. And a lot of weird stuff has only happened these past like 4 years since I've reached out for like legal help and family to let me know. But a lot of family I don't really reach out because just it was already uncomfortable for me to be around with certain stuff and how I am. So it's just more degrading. Like you didn't say anything beforehand, just like many people now. So why should I go and ask you for help or ask you like what's going on if I mean nobody wants to say anything in the first place? So I could be a little selfish or prideful or whatever the word is to something like that, but it just hurts for me for people to know what they know and then not say it. Because these
Hmm.
experiences, it's where it led me to know brain chip and certain technologies are real, and certain movies you gotta look at them as like what they say. They're trying to let you know things. That's that's why it's pretty crazy. Matrix and other movies are more real than what people realize, or the details about the stuff you wouldn't realize because you're just
Why isn't that kind of like their way of kind of like slipping the truth in a way? Like, because they feel like they have to admit it, and if we're not smart enough to wake up to what's going on, well, then I guess they put it on us instead. Because they're like, well, we kind of gave you, a little bit there, and it's up to you to figure out the rest. That's the way I kind of see symbology in movies, anyway.
yeah.
And I don't know if I'm pretty sure a lot of it's intentional, especially when you talk about the Matrix and all everything that surrounds that, including the directors or the writers and directors and everything like that. Um, I'm gonna get to the chat real quick here. There's a couple good comments and questions. This one, Chrissy says, "Do you live close to a military base? Would that have
Uh,
anything to do with
yeah.
anything?"
I think I don't think they really use it as much anymore, but it's March Air Force Base. Right here, it's in Moreno Valley. It's like about 20, 30 minute drive away. So sometimes helicopters and stuff go around. And that's why it's weird things too, because it just depends on who gives the orders or not. I'm still alive, but certain jobs I have had were related to military or army, being somewhere, not being smart, being one of those badasses, just regular worker, somehow being able to be somewhere in those positions. So that's why it's weird in hearing other stuff from military not being able to trust them, or the industrial complex of it, from what I've heard with the name thrown around, which it's not really, I don't know who those people are, which groups they're all associated in, but seeing it's just a lot of just government in general. So from here and
Would you think they would be involved at all, like the military, and like, do you think it's government related? Do you think it's
well,
like
to me, I
like
mean, it would have to be. I
yeah.
mean, that's why it's like, what other person's going to go around with the ability to hack a brain or do stuff to it that the military aren't going to know? It's like, come on now, they're over here doing all this stuff. They have all the information of like, well, Osama and whatever with the Twin Towers. So if they have that information and all this other stuff, well, I mean, come on now. I mean, but they still can't find regular people who just do killings and stuff here. But that's why it's just, they know what's going on. It just seems like a big test, because the way it seemed like my life has been, it was just to test my brain. So I knew something had to be done early in my head, to where if it wasn't done when I was born, then like if I trust, or just like, oh, hear the words or the thoughts, crazy or whatever's through my head. But if I actually go and take it, give it credit, if it's actually somebody legit, it would have to have been when I was 3 years old, because I heard that through my head, not out of my ears and stuff. It was just like I was thinking about what age was I, or asked the question, how old was I, just thinking about it. And it was almost like the number three popped up out of nowhere. So it's just like either I was born and something happened to where it was done, or it was somewhere when I was three. And that's why I mentioned that cat stuff, because I figured that's around the time when that cat stuff happened. Or
Mhm.
me just being wild growing up. I always wanted to play. I didn't want to be inside. I always wanted to do something. So just like I heard and was joked about, once my uncle taught me how to climb out the window, I'm gone out the door again, because my mom would lock me in the room and stuff. And that's why it was kind of hard. That's why I don't want to like diss my mom or anything, just knowing she wasn't the best, but she also, tried her best. And with whatever circumstances, definitely a lot of things definitely could have been better, but on everybody's part, even my own. But that's why it was just my grandma at the time was the one watching me that young running out of the house. And she was using a cane, and she was maybe like almost my aunt age now, that I'm here with, about in her 70s or 80s. So she can't run after me and chase after me. So I remember other family members would come and chase me down the block and grab me if I didn't listen and come home, or other families or friends that were friends of the family would help out and stuff like that. To where I remember, it's funny or whatever, messed up, but my cousin who was in the army, that one, he passed away. He was the one closest to, and the son of my aunt that I live with. He ended up one time wrapping me up in a blanket so I couldn't move around. So, I mean, it was like, I was just like wild. I couldn't stay still and stuff from what I remember, but from what I know, I didn't go and hit anybody. I wasn't wild to just
Mm.
like take out stuff on like that. That's why
I was
it
a
took.
very hyper kid myself. I used to just like at night, I'd just run around in circles in my living room until I fell asleep. And my parents were like, just let him do it. He'll just
Yeah. Well,
tire himself out. So just let him do it. He'll be fine. But yeah,
yeah, that's
they
usually
gave
what
me too
happens.
much Dr. Pepper when I was a kid.
Yeah, I mean, that's why my wild I could see, because I was on roofs, because there's the tree that was by the house. So I was able to climb up the tree, go on the roof. And that's why I remember I stopped doing it, was because after a certain, one of the times I jumped down, it ended up hurting my feet to where I didn't want to do it no more. So I was like, all right. But that's why, just knowing I was wild to where, and wherever the idea came from, whether it was my own or because somebody put it in there, but there was two sofas that were thrown out and a mattress. And so with me and my cousin, or old, however it is, just weird. It was old family, almost like a brother type stuff. But when we're little, we put together those two sofas, the mattress, and we made our own little wrestling ring. And my mom found out, and I was using it to jump off the roof and land on it. And this was elementary time, before I was like third grade or under. And I was doing that, and then my mom took it down. I put it back up, and then she didn't take it down until the trash came, so they could definitely take it away, and I couldn't use it no more. So it was like one of those where I could see, yeah, it was wild and stuff to where somebody could either, like how it seems like many have been chosen, they get chosen on certain drugs from doctors to where somebody was like, hey, let's do this to them. And I guess see how it goes, I guess, especially if it's military. So there's been, I would say, or at least Army, there's been two, like three to four people on my mom's side, and then on my stepdad's side, because I don't know about my real dad's side, because he's been gone like forever. I get into that, but um, the other side, they had also people that were in the army, maybe about two or three of them as well. So that's why it's like, well, if something's going on, if military people, you're trusting them rather than anybody else in the world or in your country at first, then maybe those people are selected to either watch over or help out or see what goes on if they're believing what's being said too. Because it's just a weird thing for me to be put in certain positions to whether I had to think about whether it's right or wrong, if I should run or fight, or should I um, what should I do? Or if there's just a blank to my mind to where it seemed like that at certain times, it was almost like I was told to run or come up and just wait, or it's just a lot of weird things of why I'm pretty sure a lot of people could be targeted with that brain stuff to where you're tested like a lot.
Yeah,
That's
I mean, look at
no
let's
matter what, whether you realize it or not.
like
That's
let's
why
swing
I
machine.
get a
I'm
little
sorry to cut you
sidetracked.
off. Go ahead, man.
No, I'm just getting a little sidetracked. But go ahead, read and
I was going to
get
say he
on.
brings up a good point because it seems like, I mean, it might be more common than we think. He says the ear ringing frequency or tone shifts and other phenomena can come from EMF, which electromagnetic frequencies, I think is what he's saying. From a Wi-Fi router to the phones, I've experienced such things seemingly moments before a notification pops up. I think I have too. Like a couple times, I'm just like, there's like
Yeah,
there is like a signal or something you can feel. Like I don't know if I got anything in my head. I don't think so personally, but I sometimes you can still feel it. I think is like an intuition. I don't know what it is. If it's an actual like a radio wave going through you, and you just kind of process it, and then because it has happened to me before. I have to admit that. And he said maybe that's a piece of the puzzle, food for thought. What do you think about
yeah, I
that?
believe it's part of it from stuff that I've seen looking up too. Because with that, I've felt it like what I mentioned with my part of the head. That's why I never felt anything like that. All the messages, stuff that I gotten, but within these past 4 years, at certain times, it's almost like I'm getting my head hurt right before a message comes on my phone, and that's where it was weird to see the message because I'm a fan of B.O.B., the music artist, and you should look up his music. He has a lot of good music, which is why if I listen to his music and listen to a lot of other people and their information, it would have definitely helped me out a lot and how I would have done things or thought about when I traveled to Virginia for help, and it was actually in front of the White House. So it goes from being informed from certain people like that to at the time I wasn't getting help, so I just said, all right, I'm gonna go play my Pokemon and then do what I'm gonna do, and then go and uh, go to the more serious stuff. And I just got sidetracked with certain stuff, but remind me again. I'm just losing my train of thought.
Oh,
Pokemon jumped in my head, and I mentioned that before finishing it.
oh, you're good, man. We were talking just about like electromagnetic frequencies. I don't know. I can't say
All
that
right,
word.
yeah. And then the
Like,
B.O.B. thing, yeah, because with B.O.B., uh, when he did his fan thing, I sent the message or whatever it was to be a part to get the notifications. And on his thing, it said frequency rates may be different in a way. I just read it earlier. I didn't write it down, but
I just
the
looked
exact
them up.
words. But
Yeah.
it's almost like you're not what I was normally used to seeing is data rates may apply, stuff like that. Data, when you get a message, your data's a little bit bigger than others, so you may have to download it. But what was weird is that frequency may be different or may be higher, whatever it was. So that's why it's just like, well, that makes me feel like, yeah, there's something to do with that. And reading one of the stuff, if you have like a TV and a radio, like what was also mentioned a bit by the guy who put that, if you have certain stuff like that with the certain technologies, it could be all used together to in a way, kind of, I guess, control your brain or do something to your body or do something around in a way that you wouldn't really expect. So that's why I wouldn't doubt that, because people hearing voices and other things could be related to all that stuff if somebody has control of it. And I know people do because my phone's been hacked before. So that shit, the whole
Yeah.
another experience I can mention too.
Oh, I can actually. They can control your phone remotely. I used to work for a phone company, and one time they was having trouble with a customer's phone, and I'd only seen this like once. I think I worked there for like a year. I'd only seen it happen once, where I was on the phone with the company, and
Yeah.
they got into the person's phone, and it was scrolling through everything, going through their settings, and they were on the other end. They were on like on the other side of the country. You know what I mean? But they were able to actually go in the phone and go through things. Not only that, but there was also a representative from a major cable company that came in. We knew him. He came in all the time to try to sell his cable through our store, and he told us about like when it comes to like DVRs, they can literally go to your history in your DVR. They can see how long you watched something, how many times you rewound or fast forward, how long you paused on something. What I'm saying? Like
I wouldn't doubt
they
it.
could literally go back and see all that stuff. So it's all,
Well,
none of it's private. None of what you do is private at all. It's all can be hacked. It all can be the history can be traced.
see, that's the thing. It's like the illusion of privacy. I mean, you're
Yep.
cool. I mean, people have the information, but unless something's actually done to hurt you or you feel like something is, that's to where it's like, oh, well, now you got to kind of prove it and all this other type of other things that go on. Because I didn't know that stuff was possible. I uh, just noticed stuff was weird with my phone. Because one of the nights I was sleeping, I put on one of those long YouTube videos that were about a couple hours long and just played like a random music, like nice music, just to chill and go to sleep
Mm-hmm.
with. And
I think I've probably
out of
been to that
nowhere,
channel. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, yeah, that's why out of nowhere I went to sleep. I wake up and I look to my side and it's like my phone screen like went out and went back to my music and it started playing to where I was like, what the hell? It made me question like, all right, something's done with my brain now to where it's like, all right, somebody must have had control of my phone and been doing something when I was asleep to like talk to me or speak to me or whatever people are doing to make it seem like, oh, it's me, whole me when I'm sleeping or my conscious when I'm asleep and you're going to take that for whatever it's worth. And that's what I feel like was done because if I'm playing my music, it should have either been done with the music or it should have been at a different part. And it shouldn't have definitely went from being wherever it was to now showing up and then playing my music. So that's why
Wow.
I was just like, somebody had to have done something, but it's just like weird. I didn't know that stuff was
Yeah,
possible. And
and like the phone, like the smartphones can literally like it can track when you sleep, but there's apps for that like it knows how long you lay your phone down at certain hours of the night, so it can kind of like get into your rhythm and predict when you're going to sleep or things like that. I believe anyway. I mean, I know that's a fact because there are like sleep apps, that's for sure. But even if you don't have that app, I still believe they can still do it, app or not. The technology is there for sure. It's like
yeah,
it can detect how many steps you take in a day. It tracks you all over the place.
yeah, that's why I wouldn't doubt it. They have that stuff to where whatever you say and type or whatever, somebody's gonna know about it to try to give you a coupon or give you a discount. That's why it's just weird that stuff happens. And that's where I notice things are more weird because there's stuff that I've only thought about and didn't say to where I would get stuff from them or whatever it was that I was thinking about to where it made me question stuff even more. I was like, I can't be crazy. And especially the certain stuff that I've gone through. If I am crazy, then what kind of respect and honor do those other people have that have been around me in a way? It's like, what for besides you're just testing a chip to where that's the main thing. It's like, who cares about the person? It matters about the chip or whatever data you could get. And it's almost like if you're told from what I figured, then it's going to ruin everything because you're going to know and normal things of how it's supposed to be ain't going to work. It's not going to work out from
Yeah.
whoever's wanting to do stuff to where I didn't sign up for this. Like where was I told about this? Like if things were done before I was 18, then let me know when I turned 18 if I was old enough, or when I turned 21, if I could drink and do all this stuff, then let me know about what's done to my body or something. Because to go into knowing certain possibilities and all this certain things is goes into Power Rangers. Have you watched that?
I mean, I did a little bit when I was a kid, but I wasn't like, I wasn't the biggest Power Rangers guy. I was actually a big fan of this other show that was very similar called Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad. That was like my Power Rangers, but it was the offshoot one on like PBS. So, but I did watch a little bit of Power Rangers every now and then. I watched the movie too with the Ooze guy. Anyways, go ahead. That was a tangent.
All right. Well, because in there they had stuff that was shouldn't be possible too, to where with all this stuff going on, to where it has to be some sort of brain chip or whatever technology it is. Because only a couple episodes in on the first season of the Power Rangers, the Blue and the Pink Ranger got their body switch. Well, not their bodies, their soul, their conscience switch. So yeah, the Blue Ranger and the Pink Ranger going into this machine out of nowhere. The guy's now the girl and the girl's now the guy. And it's weird because I never remember seeing that when I was a kid. I was just, well, maybe I missed it or just didn't think nothing of it because, of course, why would I think anything of that? It's just a show. There's nothing personal like that with me until, of course, looking up what my experiences are. So that's why it's just freaking, that was possible with freaking Power Rangers. They literally had an episode with that, with kids out of all the things for kids, not no grown adult show. And nobody's saying this is, I mean, something important could be possible. And it's just weird. They also, weird thing with like the stuff with words being put through my head is like Egypt. Something that made me look and kind of like was Egypt in a way, like the pyramids, to where that's more weird now today, where I can't really trust that. Besides what I knew and grew up with, like being Yu-Gi-Oh or Power Rangers, because Power Rangers had a pyramid ranger where his Zord was a freaking pyramid, and he was a black and gold ranger, and his mask, for his helmet was the Tesla coil, basically.
Whoa!
So with all that, it's like,
wow,
bro, exactly. And it's like, come on. Let alone freaking hearing and seeing other stuff, whether it could be true or not, but like Bible-wise, hearing people were made out of clay. All right, what does that exactly mean? Especially if there's a creator for us, then somebody obviously had some intelligence to do things. And then in the show Power Rangers, they were making people out of clay, but they're sending them down to Earth to go and fight the Power Rangers and do all this stuff. So it's just kind of weird and stuff of how that was even in shows. Like, and what was the main meaning for that? It's like, is everyone being told, like, if you have radios hooked up, people are just beaming stuff out, hoping, oh, Egypt, and everyone will go along with whatever that is? Because from what it seems like the Illuminati or whatever people trying to do certain things, which I'm not sure how good they are or not, but it just seems a little bit different than the Freemasons in a way, because Freemasons have their logo, their certain stuff, but the pyramid, Illuminati, and certain stuff, even the upside down triangle, from what I figure, seems like it might be somebody else too, because you have all these different people with their symbols throwing it around. It's weird. Even Tony Hawk. Have you played Tony Hawk video game?
I'm gonna be honest with you, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. I played them for more than I ever should in my life. Way more than I ever should. One of my favorite games of all time. All of them. I love every Tony Hawk game. I love Tony Hawk. Don't tell me he's Illuminate confirmed.
No. Okay. Well, I don't know. Just because of certain stuff, I feel bad being negative and posting to him because of the recent stuff, though, going off of that. Is because him and Lil Nas X did that shoe or blood shoe. And then just seeing Tony Hawk was more about like, that's why you could be good people. It's just weird how it's just like people are like really serious into some parts of like devil and God. So that's why it just makes me question, because he is somebody important. He's somebody there that had a big impact to where not many people are like that. And then out of nowhere, Lil Nas X has the blood in the shoes or the sole of them. And then
that was crazy.
Tony Hawk does his own. And in Tony Hawk, the new video
Tony
game,
Hawk did one like that too, right? I saw that. I know. I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead, but I did see what you're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I feel bad on that. It's just being negative, like, oh, you guys, or whatever it was I said. I don't remember. You could look up the tweet, show me. I'd be surprised if not. But that's why it's just like, somebody is cool and stuff, but not expecting that. Playing the game, the remastered one for the 1 and 2. There's so much freaking symbols on there, a freaking pyramid, their one eye, and all this stuff. It's like, dang, is that good or is that like bad? Because these people aren't coming out and saying anything, but they're definitely promoting things with certain stuff on it.
I mean, do you think Tony Hawk is the one going in there saying, hey, let's put a Illuminati sign on that quarter pipe over there, though? Or is it the developers, the programmers, or is it again higher above?
It could be. But that's where how much power does Tony Hawk have then? And is he actually got the okay to say this and stuff is approved? Or just like anybody that's like in music, it's like, oh, we own the rights to Tony Hawk the game, but if you want to be a part of it, you can, we'll pay you. If not, we're gonna do it without you. To where that reminds me of the Wayans brothers. They did the Scary Movie out of nowhere. They kicked them out and made the movies without them, or with the main dude. I think it was Marlon Wayans or Sean. I can't be exact, but he ended up doing the ones with making his own haunted house. To where
Mhm.
me and I just recently watched that, and it was just weird. I think it was that one. Now I'm not really sure, or is another movie, but I'm for sure saw that. I paused it, and in the back of the background, it had the Freemason symbol, and then they had the Illuminati with the eye on top of it. So that's why it made me feel weird, and why just thinking of it, maybe they're both in the same too, to where instead of being
Mhm.
separate, or maybe they're coming together like any other enemy type of thing. But that's why it's just kind of weird with certain stuff with that video games and going to Egypt and Red Hot Chili Peppers, all that stuff
I know,
having
man. I
led
found out
to.
recently the Chili Peppers are Illuminate confirmed. I was like, ah, no. Oh,
Yeah.
crap. I love the Chili Peppers.
Yeah, it's good. That's why I don't know the intentions. And to think about it, if some people actually were killed and people aren't lying about rituals or certain stuff, what people mysteriously died around those people's family, and then what happened after that, whether their friends or somebody came up. Because that's where it seems kind of true with a lot of stuff, whether you could prove it or not, but too much stuff seems coincident. That's why even with my own life of how certain things happen, and it's just it's messed up. Even with
Well, even
Kobe Bryant.
I was gonna say
That's
on Hoffcast, if you Hoffcast.com, not plugging my website here. I'm just saying, like I have it towards the bottom. I got a little um like a little you can go through a slideshow of all these different celebrities and everything all doing this kind of thing, and
yeah,
hand symbols and whatnot, and you see it every now and then. It doesn't have that big of an impact, but when you see like a whole collage of it, and you see like tons of them all doing the same thing, then you're like, oh, okay, now it's starting to make a little bit more sense when you see it all together, rather than just every now and then just not even noticing it. So now I notice it all the time now, but never
yeah.
used
It
to until
just
you
depends.
you
Like,
see that kind of thing.
yeah, it's like, well, a lot of them say they give their thanks to God, or at least more people were
Mm-hmm.
back in the days than now. So it's like it made me question, like, well, what God are they praising? Because it seems like people have different gods. Because being growing up, I was raised around Christians and being along those lines, and people who happen to be Catholic or go into those type of churches. To where me, it's just made me feel like a lot of that stuff is like religion, certain things, and I lost my thought on the other thing I was going to say, but that's why growing up with certain religions, it's just like there's more stuff out there of people what they believe, and even the Christian one is more of overseas over on the other part of the land, over in the Middle East somewhere, to where it was nowhere here on this land that we live, and that's why it's just me feeling weird because the way things are, like the land should be for everyone, just make it good for people to go here and there without doing crimes, but it's just so I don't know. It's just weird how I think of it with a certain shit that I lost my train of thought.
Oh, you're
But
good, man.
yeah,
We
because I
can
was
get to the
thinking of
chat for a
it,
couple minutes because it's been blowing
it just
up.
made me thought of different ideas that I had, but I didn't want to go off of that. I just tried to go back because there's other. That's why there's other ideas that I had to help that I thought would be good if I could go and talk to the mayor, see what could be done. But again, finding out stuff's done in my brain and nobody said anything makes me not trust them or go to them because it's like even if they were to take my ideas and do something and not give me credit, fine. Kind of like how things kind of being done in a way already. But it's like at least, I mean, I could at least feel comfortable thinking that there's somebody good or whatever, but I can't really trust that if they're not coming out to say, hey, this is done to your head and this is what we feel. We want to help you out and do what's best. We want to let you know, give you some sort of freaking dignity, but it's like no, it's like that's not happening. And the weird thing to go off of that is like the old mayor in this city, his friend that I seen or whatever it was, when I went to go put in my boat over down here at the park down the street, out of nowhere, he was right there to be the one in front of me to open up the door for me and my aunt. So that's why with other people being around, why is that? And to go off of that, Lil Rel Howery, that's why I remembered this dude. and I was because trying to get some truth and justice and stuff, traveling out. I listened to the highway patrol. Said, just if I get my head scan, cool, that'd be fine. I'll go and listen. I'll follow you over here to this hospital so I get my head scan. So I followed them. They didn't handcuff me or nothing. Went there. All this freaking stuff happened. Ended up at this other hospital to where this dude told me oh, hello, Mr. Walker. And it was weird because being at that place, the first couple days being in there, I never seen this guy. He wasn't part of the people to talk to me. It was just like once I asked if I could get my shoes back because nobody let me call 911 off of the BS, and I'll go to explain more of that. But this dude, I never seen him, but in this new level in this hospital, he just says Mr. Walker, and to look at him made me feel like, oh, I've seen this guy. Like, and why would this guy say something to me? How would he know my name or anything like that? So with that, when I got out, I looked up who was this guy, this comedian. I knew he was from the movie Get Out because that also made me feel how it's like a sunken place. Somebody does something, whether it's a tap of the T or a switch, your body's being shut down in like a sunken place. You can't do nothing about it. And that's where I've known and felt on my own end of what's been done to me. So
He
I
was an
looked up
actor
and I was
from the
like,
movie Get Out. Knew your
yeah,
name?
he was the cop at
Whoa.
like one of the friends or something. He was like one of those that came and helped out at the end. And he's also a comedian. And that's why I
What do you think he was
looked him
doing in
up.
that place?
That's why with me and not knowing, and if nobody's going to tell me the truth from what I feel, it's just slavery. It's just a new way of slavery. I'm not being whipped for people to see me get hit or no fire hose for people to know to be like, hey, he's a slave or he's being hurt like one or whatever it is. Oh, put something on your head to where it's like, all right, something's done to me. Somebody knows about it. Instead of telling me, somebody's going to try to get whatever legal rights over me. So it's like if I'm labeled mentally or crazy, just like Britney Spears, somebody's going to have the right over my life or power of attorney, whatever it is. So that's where it feels like that's what's done to where it sounds crazy for what I told the doctors, but it's like, just let me have control. Whoever has control, just, I mean, tell them to stop or let me know who it is. So I don't get hurt or whatever's going on could be told. But that's why it's just, that's what it feels like. If he was somebody there, it's just like, all right, well, maybe he was looking out for me to try to be friends with them to where out of nowhere, it's just like, oh, I'll find out you're a comedian and then just see how it goes type of things. Because it's just weird for that to happen and that's not the only like person that I felt was a celebrity that came around, whether I knew they were before or after. That's why thinking back, the first time I ever saw a celebrity to think about it and question why were they around my life? Was it just random coincidence? Or was there something done to my brain for them to be around in that area for a reason? Because there was No Doubt. I never heard of No Doubt. There's that song Don't Speak that they did. And I remember I still love it till today. And
Good
to
song.
hear it and to not really, the first time I heard it was at this beach. And it was in San Diego. And it was a beach somewhere close to where they had the Sea World out there. And I haven't been there since, but I've been wanting to go look at it, which actually I'll probably take a drive to go and look when my car's fixed because it should be done in about a week. But I want to go back to that beach because they had a ride there. Because I remember a lot, at least certain stuff, because my aunt, even her age at the time, didn't like going on the ride because it spun around, so she was sick. And right across from that was the stage where these people were performing the Don't Speak song, and I never heard it. It sounded nice. And then later on, come to find out, and it was one of the people that I grew up with. It was my stepdad's sister who was like their biggest fan, to where it was like, oh, this is No Doubt. This is the song Don't Speak. And I was like, I remember hearing that when I was a kid over at this thing. So were they not famous then to where that they're playing something and they were found and made famous because somehow there's something brainship
Hmm.
with my head, or were they already famous already and they just happened to go and uh, play over there so they could be heard because whatever's with my done to my head. So, I mean, the way it sounds, it kind of sounds like I repeated that, but in a way, it's just weird because whatever's done in my head, whether it's coincidence or not, whether they're famous or had a deal, it's just weird for somebody to be that good and talented, seeing how they've actually been throughout all these years. And it's weird to actually hear their song before they're famous and to
Oh,
just
Gwen
question.
Stefani is Illuminate confirmed now for sure if she wasn't back then. For sure. She went on doing her own things, and it was I didn't like
Yeah,
when she went away from No Doubt. But
that's
she
why I
didn't
don't
she
know them
do
people.
this shit is bananas, be and didn't she do that song Ain't No Holla Bad Girl? That song
Yeah.
sucks. Didn't she do it? Am I
And then out
wrong?
of
It's
nowhere,
someone else.
here's Yuku girls. So I got a question. I'm not sure if they're Chinese or Japanese or whatever it may be, because that could be another thing too. Because seeing how certain stuff with the country, it seems like Britain seems like they are in control, or they whatever it is with America. It seems, because it seems like America is like basically anybody's. Like whoever wants America, it's yours. So you could put your name on it in a way. Because with certain countries, like Britain has certain people that are here in America, even on live TV, even as talk show hosts, where it's like, yeah, I don't mind it, but if people have an agenda behind it, like to say fuck America or whatever it is, then yeah, it's messed up. Because even then, I already feel messed up on my own end to hate people, or in the same way to be bitter because I'm in this slavery position that I never heard or was told about. That's why it's just pretty weird, and I'm getting a little sidetracked because like somebody's walking in next door over here, and I have my window. But that's why it feels like somebody's shushing me right now. But that's why with the stuff, I mean, that's why I would, there's so much stuff. It's just freaking, what's the reason? How much of a coincidence? That's why with the Elon Musk stuff, he happened to be related to somebody with Britain or with Ghislaine Maxwell or whatever it is. And it's weird, like, well, if brains technology is already going on, and even Rod Sterling was talking about this, and Elon Musk is barely talking about it like it's a new thing and whatever it is, then well, what's going on? Because he doesn't seem to be a good person. Somehow I'm
No,
working
no,
cleaning
I don't.
kitchen hoods, and then I'm working in SpaceX. I could see his factory, all the space rocket stuff that he's doing. I could even see his freaking Iron Man statue and the other one that he got that's right there when you walk into his elevator to go up to the next floor. It's like I've seen that. I mean, I don't know, I'm not smart to do that. I just cleaned the kitchen, the stuff, but it's just weird because after that, realized he had Neuralink. And it's like,
Mhm.
well, he has Neuralink. Like, I didn't even know that. So if I found out my brain has something with it to where I'm working at that place, and that day I'm thinking as I'm leaving from SpaceX on my last day from the job that I was at, like, all right, well, I'm gonna quit. I don't feel like I'm gonna work, but when I get to the place, I'm gonna wait there because they said they want to clean the storage, so I'm gonna wait because I'm
Hold on,
still
wait. You
working. I
work for
don't want to.
SpaceX?
No, not SpaceX, but it
Oh, I
was
thought you said. Oh,
no,
go
clean
ahead.
the kitchen hood. So the exact
Okay, okay. Let's
job
just say
was
that. Okay.
it was called ACT and Bryan Exhaust. I'm not sure exactly which one had the contract, but I think ACT was the more upper one, so they most likely had the contract for the SpaceX.
Okay, I see what you're saying
So it
now.
was
Okay.
we cleaned the vents and stuff. So they because they had a kitchen there to feed the people who worked there. So we went and cleaned that. So that's why it was just weird. Like, I mean, I should be a nobody. What does Elon Musk have besides the only thought I had growing up or any time was if I were to be in space, it would be kind of cool if I actually lived comfortable enough in my life, or if I'm gonna die in a later age, to go in a rocket to see what a black hole is, to see what's on the other side. So other than that, I mean, that was cool, space. But then to figure out the brain stuff, it was like, well, he has Neuralink. Maybe he, like, again, same type of thing with like that Lil Rel Howery or anybody else, was like, whoever, what's going on is like, well, Elon Musk wanted me there in a way to where somehow he hired the company, the ACT, which is, what was the exact name? Something cleaning technology or air cleaning technology. And it was, that was also one to where I mean, it was a good one. I even had worked in the Beverly Hills Hotel to clean the kitchens there. That's why with certain stuff, whatever it is, certain people had like money or power for that. Just me, a regular person, not even knowing about my brain to be there. So now I got to question it to where, I mean, what are these people up to? If they're not in the government, for somebody in the government to say, or president to be like, oh, this is known, or let me tell you about this, but these regular private companies are doing it. That's why today I got some information down and I looked up, and somebody actually beat out from looking at, let me go through it. But there's other brain chip or brain technology companies out there. And I guess one got FDA approval before Elon Musk did. And that was some group called Synchron, and it's in New York. So with all the stuff, California seems to be fucked over, and there's some technology companies out here. New York seems to have this one, and they built it. New York seems a bit messed over. So if you're trying to go and mess with the brain to see what the will or the soul or any certain things are, and you have all these people and you got it an okay, it seems like that more people are going to be allowed to do it. And again, I guess the synchron has a, a place in Australia as well, and they're trying to get 4 people to start it off. And I guess from whatever they're saying, with all this stuff, within 3 to 4 years, they can make it to market. But there's all this going on, and well, where's the government? It's something important the government should have knowledge about, rather than letting it go to some private companies, to where, just like what's sad and people don't realize what could be done, your mom and parents, whoever may be, even before that, sign up, and it's kind of messed up, but you sign up to where you're being tested. So your kid's going to be going through to see what's gone on. Your parents went through this test, so you want to see if anything affected the kid. So therefore, your kid, in a way, is now going through this test, and they can't be known or told about it because of what their parents did. And that's why it's like you got New York being so messed over, in California, especially with parents and kids. It's like, I wouldn't doubt it. You're trying to separate people or to do something for a certain reason. And especially the more, like, it seems like accidents that you could claim are accidents, whether it's a car or whatever, to where somebody could say you forgot, you got your head hit. Somebody could easily just throw something on. And if you don't expect it, because like me, unless it feels like somebody's actually doing something to me at the time, I feel like, yeah, I have something on my head. Other than that, I just feel like I'm normal, or whatever I thought normal was, just going about my business, doing whatever I did or didn't do, and whatever went through my head. That's why it's like not realizing I'm tone deaf, but there's stuff that's been thrown through my head and certain shit. It's just it's pretty crazy. But if you want, go ahead and ask any other questions, and I can get more on some more exact experiences and other
Absolutely. I'm actually just going to hit up the chat real quick. It blew up. I haven't even seen half of these. So I'm just going to say hi to some people in the chat. I love the chat. Oh my gosh. My mind's blown right now. So I need a second to kind of, excuse me. I need a second to kind of absorb.
I want to try to make sense myself without sounding like it's all gibberish.
Oh, no, no, no. You're doing awesome.
We're going to have to put stuff together. Be like, all right, this was said here, and this was said there. All right, this goes to that, and this goes to that.
That's a regular Hoffcast. You gotta tie things together, even when I do a solo show. So don't worry about that. My crew's used to it. You know, the bosses are used to me being all over the place. But I think you're doing. I think you're keeping things very, very well together. One thing too,
what I feel is a good thing. It could be both hurting me or whatever, but I feel in a way is good to not have stuff planned out, written down in a way, so I could just speak about it or talk about it, to where it's like, all right, well, either it's him or he has it planned out. So I'm like looking like at Joe Biden or people on TV, just reading the prompter, like, all right. But that's what I don't want to be. But
oh, no, man. Like, I have to keep notes all the time for stuff, or else I lose track. I got a bunch of stuff written down here we haven't even got to yet that we can still talk about. Let me say hi to the chat real quick. Let me say hi to the bosses. Oh yeah, look at that notepad.
Camera that.
Courtney, what's up? Yes, it's the Hoffmeister and Fifth. Yeah, and he's the show tonight, not me. That's for sure. Let me see here. What else is going on? Courtney says she loves Pokemon Go. She doesn't have the Switch for the new game because you mentioned Pokemon earlier. Are you a big Pokemon guy?
Yes.
Jess Boz. I was too when I was younger. I'd check out one of the new games eventually. I have a Switch. Maybe I will. Just says, who else has seen all the chemtrails and the start of 5G? I actually have a picture on my Instagram of chemtrails I took a few months ago. They're crazy. Like one of the craziest pictures you can imagine of chemtrails I took. That's what I thought, man. It's crazy. You could use it as the poster for chemtrails. Seriously, this picture I took. But anyways, and the start of 5G nanotechnology. So what do you think about 5G? And I mean, how's that going to affect things, like especially in your case? Do you think that's like a way for them to control more or get more information from that sort of thing?
Well, one thing, like I was reading, I read over that text earlier, which I kind of it makes me feel like I sound more stupid or dumb now. But it was just something that I put more like awareness, because not really knowing about the 5G, but knowing how it's like something important of what they're trying to do. And then with the brain chip and stuff that I feel is going through me, that's why I was like, well, with both of that added together, it could be like you could have full body control in a way, because whatever you could do with the 5G stuff to a person's body or whatever brain, add it on to some chip, or maybe it'll make that stuff even more better. Because with all those little towers being around, being built up and being hidden as regular like trees and stuff, it's weird. Because it's like, well, what's that for? Like, you worried somebody's gonna take it down, or you're just trying to hide it for some reason? Because it's a lot of those towers been put up, and hearing people have been sick and stuff like that. I don't want to say like, oh, it's all true, but I wouldn't doubt it, because certain stuff like with the MK Ultra stuff, they had certain technology that they, or what they said was a box or something that was put around the person to where somehow the people would get nauseous or feel sick. So I wouldn't doubt that's something related to what could be done, especially if nobody's going to say anything and people are, I guess, going to be really corrupt, which, I mean, it kind of sucks to really feel that way, but that's kind of how it seems the way it is. Like, where there's more people united in BS today than they are in the States for good. And it kind of sucks to look at things that way.
Because
But,
they've been misled, in my opinion, you know.
well, yeah, I mean, you would be. Just like one thing I've said, it's like, I'd rather have somebody that's a good person but a dick, rather than somebody who's nice but they're a bad person. And the way to put it, like,
Yes, I see what you mean.
yeah, I could be nice and smiling to you in your face, but I want to do something bad to make sure, to hurt you. As in, I could
Yeah,
be an asshole to your face where you're not going to like me or my attitude, but I want to do something good. I'm not going to make sure I hurt you just because I'm, mad or seem angry or whatever it may
I mean,
be.
yeah.
You
No one
don't
likes
like
a
my tone.
backstabbing snake, of
Just like,
course. You know?
yeah, I may be like an asshole, or just like the jokes are pick on you, or in a way like joking, but not like to where I'm gonna like, oh, I want to do something bad to hurt you or make sure your life is like ruined or stuff like that. So it's like too many people are nice smiling on TV to where they're doing these actions that are causing people to be hurt and harmed. Where if you're somebody that seems like, well, like kind of Trump was saying all this stuff, it's like, oh, well, he's doing some good actions. He's not the nicest, not like what they're saying, oh, you got to be nice and polite. Well, these couple years, that's been the most that people haven't been polite in certain
Bro,
positions.
it's crazy
So,
that you're saying this, because I was literally just saying the same thing to one of my buddies earlier today when we were walking out of work. Like the exact same thing that you're saying right now. And granted, not verbatim, but I was saying that. I was like, yeah, like Trump was an asshole for sure, but you knew he was an asshole. He was an asshole up front, you know. But with Biden, he tries to play the nice guy. Brandon tries to play the nice guy, but he's a bigger asshole underneath than Trump is out in the open. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
I mean,
that's
my
why with
opinion there,
certain
my
things, like,
personal opinion.
yeah, that's why me and my aunt been going back and forth because of stuff. Because with Biden, because, well, she's like the only one I talk to really because of a lot of stuff. So there's not really much people or feel comfortable with really. But that's why with Biden and Trump, I'm like, it's kind of like telling her it's like messed up how a majority of the people hate Trump because he said he wanted to grab women or you could grab them by this and that. But then you don't see that. But then Biden says this and that, or Brandon says this and that, and
Well,
you see him,
at least Trump
you
was
see
talking
him
about
grabbing and
consenting adults
smelling.
and not not like
Yeah,
kids.
that that's why it's like weird. And then somehow he gets all the votes where it's like there's something up. And you have Trump saying things to where people are mad and people are getting on him to where it's like everything he was saying, like what one thing that comes out was like mentioning, oh, we're not gonna go to war, or we're not gonna attack this place unless we're gonna get their oil or get their resources. So it's like, oh, Trump, this is what he wants to do. We're hating him. So it's like, well, in a way, what if he did that to let people know that's exactly what's been going on? That's how things are been working. Like he just let people know rather than lying and making up some excuse. He's saying we're not going to do this unless it's for this reason. To where others, it seems like now they're coming up with kinds of excuses to do this and that. So that's why even with Trump, like it's kind of hard to not really know how good he is, but he's in a way he's like the best one we've had and got in a way. And I say that is because, and I say that without voting for him because I voted for the girl Gloria something, and that's why it just made me question like the certain stuff that he was doing. He could have done more because just a simple thing with the whole stuff that's gone on with the last 2 years with spread 15 days the spread or whatever it is. I'm trying to think about it
Yeah,
without
yeah.
saying the actual B word, but with that whole situation of the pandemic stuff, I'll say that. Um,
Thank you.
uh, allegedly, however it goes, just like
Yeah.
Trump literally said, there was Mike Pompeo, they're on TV. Mike Pompeo says this is a live exercise. Trump turns and says, you should have told us. So it makes me question because nobody in the news, nobody really said anything at all, if that, to where it's just like, well, what did that mean? What is the live exercise? Why did you say that? Mike Pompeo, who was coming to find out CIA isn't really as good as what it said. They're not even supposed to operate, I guess, in America, but they're doing all this stuff and they're over here in other countries for democracy, this and that, to where it's like something's a little up here. Like, what is the live exercise then? What's going on? Because everything seems to be united more for a certain reason that's not even as good as what people have been asking for, whether individuals or groups protesting all this stuff that could have easily been helped. But no, it's always something different being brought up. And that's why even climate change and all this other crap, it's kind of irritating. Like, it's like, come on, man. It's like so much freaking BS. It's freaking dumb. So what is that live exercise? Is it just to see what everyone is doing as a person? Is there going to be some Superman? Is a whole country going to come up to protest to what end government, or are they going to come up to hold them accountable? Because I thought other people were supposed to be doing that already. So it's just freaking, it's just messed up. It's just people in a way like they've said it. They want citizens against the government, but that's in a way what was shown with January 6th. It's like there's certain police. How did a lot of people get into the Capitol? Either the police felt like they were going to die and didn't want to do it, or they felt like, all right, these people, I'm not going to risk my life for these people because they're part of the problem. I'm not going to do my job as in what somebody could say and hate. But if it's you're really thinking about it, these people in the White House are doing something bad and they're not even going after Trump, then what really is a problem? Like these people have
Yeah.
definitely been in there all these years, but they blame Trump for everything for the passport. And that's why I felt
That's a great
certain
point
like
right there.
that's why on my own end, like I felt like the marshals were sent after me because of Trump, because on my because when I was doing my protesting, Trump was in office. And when I actually made it to the White House, a lot of weird things happened. And coming to find out, my license was suspended. And I've already had a car taken away and
Oh,
ticket for having suspended license. But I'm traveling across the country, and almost every place that I sleep at or go, I'm getting my ID checked by a police officer. I go somewhere, it's like, oh, somebody called and complaint and something or whatever it may be, and somebody checked my ID, but I got no ticket. Nobody said I had a suspended license, and I was able to go from California all the way to freaking Virginia and all this stuff in between. And it's just like I already went to the Institute of Justice. That was my main goal with all the stuff that happened. So I was like, all right, they're not helping me. Even the security guard got my name wrong. So I already feel they're not going to help me. I can't see these people in person. And I just got told I got to leave my report. So it's like, man, you know what? That's why to go off the Pokemon. That's why I decided White House is just like a half hour away. At the time too, I remember believing Trump was a bit racist, so I didn't think he was going to help me because of what the news had said. So I was more of him, like, oh, a different president, whatever. So that's why I just played my Pokemon, saw the White House, and just looking at it, people were protesting at the time. I remember there's more about the border that Trump was doing because this was 2019 when I was there. And that's why on my way back, I was like, man, Trump as a president didn't come out. He knows what he knows. I'm going through all this. It sucks. And I go and on my way back, I go to one of these freaking rest stops. And out of nowhere, it's like somebody, it's like a plan in a way. Like somebody was trying to do some drugs and out of nowhere, all these freaking undercover people came up, pulled in front of me, but they weren't like coming to me. They're coming to the car next to me and they handcuffed this guy, did all this stuff. And I look behind me and this sheriff bus is pulling up behind me too. So it's like, what the hell was going on? Like, and the bus wasn't even related to what was going on because they didn't put that person in the bus. Well, I guess they kept them there because I didn't stay for the whole thing. I was there for maybe a good hour or so because I forgot exactly where it was. I got to look it up, but it was a nice rest stop, but it just made me feel like if these are U.S. Marshals and there's something on with my brain, hey, maybe Trump sent them to come either kill me or do something or to test me because I mean nobody said anything, but with the amount of stuff I've been through with my head, certain things happening with certain cars being there when I wake up and then they're gone at certain times. I mean, it's weird.
Yeah,
I'm
I've been
definitely
experiencing that kind of myself on occasion, especially the last few days. I'm not gonna lie. I'm dead serious when I say this. Like this happens. It seems to go in phases for me. Like it seems like every now and then there'll be a few days where it's like, you ever seen the Truman Show with Jim Carrey?
Yeah,
Like every
that's
time he
what I
tries
feel
to
like
leave,
mine
like
is. Okay.
just out of nowhere, all the cars just go in his way. Like for me recently, when I've been going out
Yeah.
walking my dog, I swear everywhere I go, there's a car that'll pull up with their headlights and shine right on me. They'll just pull into parking lots or turn down a road where nothing
Well,
else is, or in a vacant lot, and just shine their lights on me. And this is happening like a lot, especially the last
see,
week. And this is
that's
weird
why
for
you
me. I'm not gonna
should.
lie, but
Well,
I try to ignore it and just say like it's in my head. It's not really happening, but it happens so often. It's weird for me. So
yeah, that's why I don't know how things go, but like me on my end, when that happens, I try to record, or if not, then yeah, just keep it
I got
in
my
your
piece on me,
head,
so
because
I'm not
that's
too
where a
worried.
lot of stuff has been happening to me too. That's one of the main things. Like that's why you mentioning that, it's a lot of stuff that happens to me where I go, people are flashing their lights at me to where it's irritating. Like I'm driving, doing certain stuff, or even if I'm just parked enjoying myself. And what I realize, a lot of stuff happens more when I choose to smoke and drink. So it's like, oh, I can't enjoy my peace being here. It's almost like I got to be forced to either stay at home to do the stuff, or I got to go to a bar to do it and go from there instead of enjoy the actual
Mm,
outside like I
yeah, I
actually
see.
do.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
that's why part of certain stuff I enjoyed more and realized what I want more in my life, because I actually lived out of the van, traveled through the country, and had all this stuff. Everything seemed good. Had my daughter, had food, had a shelter, had my aunt. Just had to decide on what job I was going to do so I could do more. And a lot of this stuff just seems to just be a lot of crap now. But that's why it's just losing my thought. But it just go
You're
ahead,
good,
try
man.
to
Hey, let me
refresh
read
me.
some chat real quick,
You
and
try to
then
refresh me, and then I can go off of something else. I don't know if you
yeah,
have
yeah.
another thing,
Let me read
but
the
go ahead.
chat. I'm just gonna skim through real quick. Yeah, take a quick break. I'm probably gonna have to here in a minute when you come back, and I'm gonna let you talk for a little bit more. Let me go through it. I'm gonna try to just do rapid fire, so I apologize because you guys just been lighting this thing up. And if there are good points that we want to talk about, we'll try to get back to some of them. But I just I appreciate all you guys' comments. So like I said, I'm wearing the shirt. You know, make friends in the comments, bosses. Do it. Make friends in the comments. Mitch says it's got to be a combination of things they use to get the best results. Yeah, I don't. There's got to be like it's got to be coming from all angles. A lot of this stuff, in my opinion, especially when it comes to. I mean, mind control doesn't always come from a brain chip. It also comes from like pressure and propaganda and just the way everything's kind of biased. Jess says everything falls to the earth. The what is this? Is this I guess chemicals? Maybe a periodic table settled in the soil. Plants absorb and animals eat, and we also consume chemicals at a slower rate. That's true. These chemtrails are definitely like getting into the crops. Jess also says typically it rains when what is that? Aluminum? I think it is in the atmosphere. Was used during Vietnam. Mitch says they've been spraying us with nanotech that's infused into the food and water supply. Slowly. Wow. Yeah. I mean.
Oh,
Like I said, Viv, I'm going to go through these rapid fire, and then we're going to go back and hit the points. So I just want to get through
go
them
ahead.
because I like reading the chat, and
That
these
reminded me
people
of
put
something pretty
the
interesting.
bosses put a lot of thought into their comments. So I really appreciate that. Mitz also says some people are more targeted than others. Well, you know, that's what we're talking about. Jess says trying to transhumanize us against God unknowingly, completely. I've been reading books about that lately. Mitch says, plus all the metal people consume, like cereal, it's full of metal particulates. It'll turn people into antennas. Absolutely. That's a great point as
There you
well.
go. That's what I just recently found out too.
Jess says, we will come back and hit these points. I promise, Fifth. Like I said, I just want to get through them real quick, and then we'll go back
No,
and
go
hit
ahead.
some
I'm
of these
just saying
points.
it. Don't mind me.
Oh, you're good. Oh,
I'll mute
chime in,
myself.
brother. I just don't want to cut you off and think I'm cutting you off because I do that enough. I just wanted to give it this moment here. I could just get through and read these great comments here. Jess says that's what they plan on. It's all in the documents, public knowledge. Yeah, lots of documents out there that can prove these things. Mitch says, yet the masses don't care even when faced with the truth. Yeah, that's how we've been conditioned. It's crazy. Exoteric versus esoteric. I'm surprised I pronounced those words, Jess. Most are puppets while the masters sit in the nosebleeds, hardly yet known yet. Watching the show through the entirety, yes. Definitely the puppet masters. The whole world is a stage. I'm a big fan of the band Rush, and they have the lyrics, all the world's indeed a stage, and we are merely players, performers, and portrayers, each another's audience, beyond the gilded cage. Limelight. Anyways, Mitch says, yeah, the chessboard laid out in front of them. They pull the puppet strings. They come at it every way they can, or come at us every way they can. She corrects herself. Next one. The the ugly truth and the beautiful lie. LaSween says Tony Hawk is definitely sketch. Yeah, I know, but I don't want to admit it. I don't want to admit it. Just like Nick doesn't want to admit that the Chili Peppers are Illuminate, but yeah, I still like Chili Peppers music. Don't get me wrong. I do. I still listen to them, but at the same time, like I know what they've done, what they've been through and stuff. Myth says the masses love their cages. Jess says, may we see the London Bridge collapse? Oof. Wow, there's so many comments here. I can't keep up with all this. I'm going to keep going though. I'm going to keep going.
Go ahead. I'll spark one up.
There you go, man. Yeah. Okay. Jess says hindered without the Queen. Nick says, I was never all that in a Tony Hawk. Huge Rodney Mullen fan. Rodney Mullen is the man, and definitely like the best flatland skateboarder of all time. He does TED Talks and stuff now. He's a pretty cool guy. He's very interesting. Yeah, Rodney Mullen's the man. Just says Birdhouse was too expensive for me. Yeah, I mean, well, a lot of the brand name boards, they get to about the same price up there. But if you just get one of those Walmart boards, you can still go out there and skate for sure. And that's what I had when I was a kid. The bottom of my skateboard looked like a hot rod. It's cool. It wasn't brand name. I got it from Kmart actually. Just says 12 Monkeys. And there's a movie. Nick said, always bought blank boards. They were $25 opposed to $50 and up. Yeah. Real says, Real Cosmology, what's up, man? I know you've been here for a minute. I'm sorry I haven't been able to get to you in the chat yet. He says, hey, ladies, I'm sure you're talking about me and Fifth here, right? Courtney still likes Chili Peppers. Like I said, I still like Chili Peppers. I was just letting you know. Check out their symbolism and some of their songs and stuff. Jess says Elon Musk is no good. I agree with you 100% on that. Wolf in sheep's clothing. They named his kid like Archangel, and it's a bunch of different symbols. That's weird, Courtney says hi to Fifth. Yeah, Fifth's a great guy. He's been carrying the show tonight, and my mind's been blown. There's so much information coming in through this. It's been a real treat and an honor. And we still have more to go. And like I said, there will be an after show hangout party. So stay tuned for that invite in the chat here in a little while. I don't know how long we're going to go. I'm up for the long haul, but we'll see when it happens. Maybe another hour or so. Oh, Jeter. Nick says he wants transhumanism, talking about Elon Musk. Nick says, Courtney, I love their music. It has multiple meanings. That's true. You kind of interpret your own meanings from songs as well, but just a lot of the actual terms and words, they mean things. Nick says, I know Elon isn't really a genius. If he was, he would have came out with a line of perfume called Elon's Musk. In the running for the joke of the night, Nick. In the running there. Real Cosmology says, I think the spiritual is stronger than the physical. If any tech exists, I think the spirit can override it. It's why the mark of the beast will be consent based. Well, also, like, if you didn't ask, I mean, it depends, like what we're talking about right now, which we'll get back into later. I think you have a good point though. But if you don't take it intentionally, then how would you know? But we'll get back more into that later. Good point there. He always has good points. Just says birds die from it. Real says, all I know is that people had 5G symptoms years before the towers were built, and my phone data hasn't been any faster. Well, I mean, that might have just been different signals and whatnot going on. Or 5G might have been around longer than we think. A lot of technologies, in my opinion, have been around way longer before they put them out in the public. We can get more into that. Oh my gosh, I can't go through all the chat right now. Yeah, I think the rest of it's pretty good. Nick said, oh yeah, Jess says chins in the water during MK Ultra. Yeah, I'd like to talk more about MK Ultra later too, if you have time. Nick, I do know about a town that didn't want a cell tower, but agreed only if it was disguised as a tree. That's what you're talking about. Fifth, and they didn't want to ruin the scenery of the mountains, but I think it looks obvious. Okay.
Yeah, in a way, yeah, it looked obvious.
So,
Go ahead.
I think I'm just gonna. There's been so much here. yeah, we'll get back to the chat in a little bit, but I know you had a lot of things to say when we were way back up here. When it goes into where were we? What did you want to talk about? Was it with the nanotech and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, either one. There's quite a couple of stuff that are good that we talk
Yeah,
about.
about the metals and people and transhuman
Oh yeah.
agendas
Well,
and
there's
while you
that
talk
one.
about this, I'm going to take a quick bathroom break, but I can still hear you. I'll be right back in just a moment. But yeah, you
All right.
carry the show for me, all right, bud? And I know you got this because you've had it all night.
All right. Well, all right. A little bit weird, but there's the stuff that I've seen too with those serial. There's this guy that does certain things on YouTube, of course, like a lot of other things, but it's he was saying how there's certain cereals too where there's the metals, and he did the experiment where you put it in the water, like some a little bit of the cereal, put it in the water, did whatever he did, and then it was able to attract with a magnet the certain iron that's in there. But what he also said was that our body needs iron, but a certain type, and I guess the certain ones that they use in the cereal or that certain brand isn't the one that the body needs. So with that, who knows what could be done with that, especially when you add in uh, 5G and other things and how things work. It's kind of weird because if 5G with the frequencies could do certain things, just like the frequency, if if you guys seen the experiment where frequency is used over water to where it's just dripping water going down just like a faucet. But as soon as you turn on the frequency, out of nowhere, you see the water taking the shape of whatever that frequency is, and it's not no longer going down. So with that, if there's also water, if that could be done, just imagine if they're using some type of electromagnetic or type of stuff like that, whether in a big scale or if they're choosing to target you, like what was said too, targeted individuals, some are more targeted than others. So that could be another reason if they choose to target you, your body would have certain metals that, whether it's needed or not, you're going to have those to where they could affect that possibly with more frequency or however more control they could do it if they want, could make your body do certain things. So if the water, instead of going draining down like regular, could be made to any type of frequency. Just imagine that's going through your blood like you have your arm. Like I've experienced waking up like if my arm was just like hanging and then out of nowhere it just like dropped. So it's just like, well, what if that's done? If I have that, or just the certain things, if it's not with the brain chip to actually have my neural stuff mapped out already, just like something with the Kettleman map, which is something you guys should look up because it's about mapping your brain. And if they want, they could reverse that stuff. And it's more effective with the more controlled stuff that you have, whether it's around or I guess within your own body that they have mapped out from whether they could read your mind from all types of things, even when you're awake and asleep. But that's why it's just with the frequency wise, just weird. If somebody wants, they could turn on that stuff and then your arm's just going to either be stuck or whatever shape or whatever in a way that they do. And who knows how much pain you would be because your blood and the water inside alone most likely wouldn't be doing its normal stuff going the way. So with that, it just kind of crazy just to know if you have too much water, just even in your stomach alone, what they could do to that. So it's just it's just pretty crazy because there's a movie too, uh well with shutting down and stuff to where it goes more off of like the brain chip or what I feel. But just frequency and 5G, that's what I feel like could be done. And the more so if you have a chip in your head and don't know, or even the possibility, because if people aren't even told certain information now, just imagine all these companies or how many of them are good, especially if it ain't the government, to do all these brain chips or certain technologies dealing with the brain. Because again, if people think it's an accident, because something like what Grand Theft Auto showed me, something with games of how it shows or how they view a certain life or what they're showing is when you go, you could have a stock market in the video game. And when you go, you put well, certain people know now you go to certain stocks because certain missions you're supposed to take out a certain person or do a certain thing, and it helps your stocks raise to where one, it makes me think and question like if there's this stuff going on and people want more brain stuff, well, they're not going to let people know and need some excuse for it. one possible way is to like cause an accident. So just like in there, you own an insurance company and a stock, out of nowhere, you cause accidents in the game, your stock goes up. Just like in real life, you want some more people to have somewhat of a head injury. You could tell them or talk to them, this could help you get a little chip. There you go. Freaking, that's why I figured with hospitals not even giving me my back x-rays is definitely
Oh,
one big question of why there has to be something more to my head. If they don't even take my back x-rays serious to show me them because it's supposedly doctor's eyes only, or they know that people aren't going to help me in any way, well, then there's obviously something being done, especially when it comes from my own city. So that's why looking up and hearing other people's stories of getting messed with doctors or what could be possibly done for any reasons, whether it's just regular medical, like the opioid that's been talked about, or even with certain stuff with cancer, of how certain things could still be either uh, not as right as what they say, but just like me, just putting trust into people, just signing this, not expecting, who knows, maybe freaking whatever it was, something was done. I signed a paper like I figured to go and see a doctor, signed over my life to somebody else to where they're deciding whether to hurt me or not, or say something through my head or anything type of stuff like that. Because with the um what was that? The movie The Adjustment Bureau. 'Cause I was shown that by an old friend of mine that I just recently started talking to again because of this situation and stuff. And he showed me that movie, and in the movie Adjustment Bureau is about this guy. He was going, and he was these people, or I guess like government or whoever it is, who are in control, were trying to make sure this guy's life, I guess, go to be president. So everything in this guy's life, if they felt like it was something helping them out, they were doing it. If they felt like it was negative, they did what they can to try to make sure it didn't happen. And one simple thing was he met a girl. They felt like it was going to stop him from being whatever. So simple thing of what they said or did was made sure they bumped into him so he would spill the coffee on himself so he wouldn't make the bus so he would see that girl, or somehow something would happen to where that girl would miss the bus and she wouldn't see him. To
I've
where
heard of
all
this
this
movie.
stuff
I've never
went
seen
around.
it.
Yeah, and it's
I need to watch it.
yeah, because it's the Adjustment Bureau. They did all this stuff, and with that guy, what they did at his job in his office when he walked in, everyone was frozen. Like everyone was like they couldn't move. It was like a zombie. They were just stuck in whatever position they were in, and these guys were going through scanning them with whatever it was, whatever they were doing, and they were waiting for that main guy. And they told him and whatever it was to where it made me feel like that was my life in the way because I've been shut down like that, but I never seen or knew people could be shut down like that. Let alone if people really have something in their head and they don't know about it. If somebody really wants to, you could be shut down, or somebody could make your body do something you wouldn't expect. And that's what's crazy because why wouldn't you just shut down that one guy in the movie because you would have control over him? But it seemed like they had control over everyone to where everyone in that building was shut down just so they could talk to that guy and do whatever. And then once they left, everything went back to normal. And even in that movie, they had other stuff to make me question. So like aliens or whatever type of portals, that was also in the movie to where they could go one place to another. Kind of like what I feel in a more brain chip type of conscious switching, like the Matrix. If you have a chip to where I feel or whatever technology, you could switch your mind conscious to something else a lot more easier instead of something like what could be more spiritually or could be done naturally, which I'm not sure on that, but I feel more it's done to whatever type of chip or technology that could be done to your head, or even maybe a piece of metal and what they could do. Because it's just weird on the certain stuff that's gone on that I've experienced and in that movie alone, the Matrix of what they're literally doing and what could be done. When you think of real life, you're going around, I look kind of normal, I guess, or sound, but going around, just imagine so many people like that. But when somebody switched the flip, who knows what you're going to do or who's going to be controlled. And that's what's kind of scary with that movie. And in the other movie too was just something similar with the army guy with his brain. His whole body's just destroyed, whatever happened, but his brain was able to be used and functioning enough to where his whole conscience and the way he was doing that in this computer world to where they're trying to find out all this information for the next terror attack. And the more this guy wanted to find out to see how you really looked and to see and be told what's going on, the more they wanted to like basically end the program was what they're kind of calling it to where it's, oh, so what that means, you're gonna end this guy's life because he's not going along with the program. You're gonna move up then to the next body. So that's another thing that's scary, is to where when somebody actually says brain chips and all that technology is possible and what could be done, somebody's definitely got to question who are all the people used for that to be even okay for it to be in the public, or is it just going to be some mandated thing type of thing to where you're going to have no choice just so people could find out, because that's what's kind of that's I mean
I like how
it's
Real
scary.
Cosmology tries to be cute here. Just put a metal detector on your head. First of all, Real, I get if you're trying to make a real comment, fair enough. But I don't like if you're trying to be whatever the term is. I don't really
No,
care
no, I
for it.
mean
But
it's
who's
kind
to
of
say the
fair.
chip is made of metal? Who's to say the chip is made of metal? Who's to
Yeah,
say?
I mean
I mean,
that's kind of fair, because one thing I went through was like, why did it seem like the metal detectors weren't on when I went through the courts or stuff, and they just did the wand thing, to where it made me wonder, like, if I have chip on my head and if it's metal, well, it should go off, because that's why I mean, seriously, I'm kind of scared to put like really anything metal over, but that's where it goes back to the cat thing, to where if it's somehow ironic to where I in this position because I accidentally killed a cat, didn't know whatever when I was a kid, or even say I knew and I wanted to eat it or whatever it is. If that's the reason why I have this life is, and somehow a CAT scan is what you need to get your head scanned for, and it's usually, and from what I heard, you use electromagnetic to do whatever it is to scan. So that's why it was kind of scary, because if it is metal and they turn that on, it was a fear of mine that something's just gonna pop right out of my head, and I don't know how I'm gonna be. Am I gonna be normal? Am I gonna die? To where that's why it's weird to remember. I did get a scan, but I was literally in the parking lot inside the building and out within like 5-10 minutes. Sitting on that little table that you put me in was only like a minute, if that, or two. And they're like, "Oh, you're done." So I was like, "Aren't you supposed to do more time or anything?" And all they said was like, "Oh, we didn't do your whole body, so it's just your head." But I figured I'd be sitting there longer. Like, I mean, me asking a question sometimes seemed to take longer than how long it was that I was there. But that's why it's like, if they knew something, they probably just turned it on real quick, turned it off, to where that's why I want to know. That's why I want to be told there's somebody that knows this stuff. There's people, from what I heard, there was a doctor in Santa Barbara who ended up doing surgery on a person who had a chip in their head. So it's just like, well, why can't I get the help? Why am I being used? Why do I have to be told and be freaking the one freaking out because of all this weird stuff of, that's going on?
remind
That's why
me
I
to
don't.
send you a music video later. Through your messaging. I'm gonna send you a music video that I think you'll really enjoy. I'm gonna write that down now so I don't forget. And it kind of has to do with what you just said. Like it's by the band Starset, which is like my favorite band besides Rush. My favorite modern band, I guess, because Rush aren't around anymore. I'm wearing a Starset necklace right now. I always do. Starset's the best band. But anyways, they talk a lot in their music about it's kind of like a futuristic kind of world, dystopian universe, and they have things BMIs implanted in their heads, brain machine interfaces, and there's these three dots right here, and they're all slaves to basically the government that controls them, and they can just turn them on or turn them off at any time, just exactly like you're saying. And so this in this one video, a lot of their videos have to do with this, but in this one particular video, this girl goes like to like a doctor who's not, you know, part of the system, and gets her brain chip taken out. And like as soon as she gets out on the street, she's feeling greater, but this drone starts flying in and chasing her because it knows that, you know, the brain chip went off. So the drone
Yeah,
went to detect where it went off, and it saw her and started chasing her and stuff. It's a pretty crazy video. And their music
I
has a lot
wouldn't doubt
to
that.
revolve. I think you'd like them because like their whole story kind of revolves around like the brain chip
That's
being put in people's head and controlling
See, that's
people,
why it's
especially in the
like I
future.
want to be excited about that, but the fact of what I've been going through and nobody saying anything, making me hate it. Because we're all going through the first stuff was like, oh, whatever's going on, it could be good, could help out, or whatever it is. And then going through what I know, I experience more, and it's just like nobody's saying anything but doing more crap to either make me either just not care, or maybe keep trying once in a while. Because that's why with that stuff, there was the show I just started watching, which was cool. I liked it. It was interesting, and it was just, kind of made me irritated at the same time, because the name was it's Altered Carbon, to where they have a chip not in your head, but it's like in your spine, and it's called a stat. And whatever it is, that's why they don't get into details of how that starts or what the main reasons, but everyone in the world has one. So when you die, you could choose to, as long as that stack is still alive and it's basically like a chip, as long as it's not destroyed, you could put it into another body. So that's why in the saddest way of what they showed and how the world worked was like this family had a little girl who passed away, who got ran over. It wasn't her fault, but the way the law is, you get a free sleeve. It doesn't matter what it is, you just get a free one. So this little girl who was born or whatever ended up having to get an old person's body. So now this these parents are raising this little 3, 4, 5-year-old girl in this old person's body that was older than the
Oh,
parents. And they're like, oh, you don't like it? You could put it back in storage or you could pay for an upgrade. And that's why it just shows the more richer you are, whatever, all these sleeves are made
mhm.
for you, kind of like if you were to clone people. So that's where it makes me feel like if you're being cloned, you're more, what I feel, you're more like an actual human being. There's somehow getting something to make you a human being besides just something that's there, unless I could see something otherwise in a way. And then maybe I'll go more towards that. But that's why it's like if people could be told, oh, this person's a clone, rather than be like, oh, this is actual human being with feelings and stuff like that, because they weren't born from, one was born from actual humans, the other one was born in a lab. So it's like, oh, this one could be more expendable and you could do whatever. And almost like if you could make somebody believe whatever they want, you could do whatever. Kind of like what they're doing now with everything. With oh, what's your name? Oh, my bad. What is it? He, she, stuff like that.
Pronouns.
It's like, come on, people don't want to go with the names no more. And that's why it's like whatever you believe. If you believe you're freaking well Pokemon, then so be it. But if you believe that, then you'll be treated like one or go about whatever the law will eventually say about it. Type of stuff. The more corrupt or how things could be going forward, because that's kind of how it was in this show. Because in Altered Carbon, people were so rich and were in certain positions that you could die and your brain or whatever you remember is going to be
Mhm.
backed up to that very moment that you passed away. Because of how rich you are, it goes into some other computer. Like, oh, I could get a new
Mhm.
phone and there, oh, I have all my data as long as I have my Google password or whatever it may be to go on to either
I
my
mean,
game.
that kind of happened in Marvel movies with Iron Man when he died. They put him in an AI. They did it in the comics anyway. I think they're doing it in the movies, but yeah,
uh,
they did that in the
I
comics
don't
for
remember
sure.
that
Where
part.
Iron Man dies in the Civil War, and then like, but his consciousness is put into an AI, so he's like he lives on. It's their way of
Yeah.
keeping the character,
But
but
even then, that's
bringing
like
on
weird.
female character. By the way, did you know Iron Man is female?
No.
What I mean by it's a joke. Iron is Fe on the periodic table, and then man, male, female.
Oh, that's a good.
But they do have a female Iron Man now, but that's besides the point. I was just making a joke. Anyways, go
Oh,
ahead, man.
people are trying to do all kinds of stuff today, and I'm not sure if it's because of a like legit like concern or like you care and want somebody to be promoted reasons, or you're just doing it to just like freaking embarrass or degrade people because the way things are just being done, it's just like on my end, that's why certain race stuff it kind of sucks because my life's more on like I'm being judged more what it seems on my brain and my thoughts before anything. And then my skin, if that's going to be a thing, then it kind of sucks. That's why with certain stuff I've been through, just that's why I go off of some more serious experiences like racist things, just like being around people wanted to be racist around me and certain stuff to
Do you have
where
a strong Native American heritage? Because I know she had that in the background, or I know that's not your home.
part,
Is that your home,
yeah,
or is that? But
yeah,
do you have like a Native American background?
yeah, I'm part native. Um, Officially like 1/16 Native American from Cheyenne and Arapaho tribe, and it's in Oklahoma. And that's where also, because of stuff in California, I decided to try to move out there. Went and try to get help from the tribe and certain stuff, which they helped me out, and were gonna help me out with a job and certain stuff. Because I was thinking of moving out there so I could uh, get away from California and hopefully legally they could help me with whatever the brain stuff and then move on with my life from there. But talking to the person, it was gonna cost me 3,000, so I just was gonna have to work, get the 3,000, and then go from there. But that's why I was sleeping out of my van and just so I'll say, just minding my business, sleeping out of a van. I was at this park.
I've always wanted to do that, travel across the country in a van with my dog. I've thought about it for years. I never had the time. I work a job. Like, yeah, it's like it's just always been like kind of a dream of mine to just go out and have the money and just go travel and see things and not really have a destination. Just drive around and maybe go from one. Maybe the destination is just across, but no real destination in between. Just seeing what pops up. I think that'd be a fun time. But I hope hopefully I get to do it one day. I hope you had a good experience doing that. I know it's probably not easy, but I think it'd be very rewarding for sure.
Yeah, I mean it is, and it was. It just like I said, it just sucks for the situation of why I ended up going through that in the first place. I mean it's good, but it's just not.
Oh, I know you probably didn't do it because you wanted to, because you had to. I get that, but for me, like I would want to do it because like I'd want to.
No, that's why it's like it was good to travel, but my reason was for a different reason, to get help. And well, basically like my protest with what I wrote down was to get truth and justice for my life or anybody that's going through this stuff. And that's why it was just like, yeah, it was good to travel and to go through there. But that's why if it wasn't for that, yeah, I would like to travel and actually try to go through other places that I haven't been, or now the places that I've been, go back to there and just be able to, just
what was your
experience it a bit more.
place that you went, man? What was your favorite, like the most that you felt the best at? That you felt like maybe did you go anywhere you felt peace? Like
Yeah, well, there's many. That's why with just
okay.
me, I just know in general, like it is now, as long as I know there's not a lot of people around, I'll be fine. Because the fact that there's certain stuff that I've done here only at this house, but I go to random places in the next city or wherever it is, or like when I was in other states, they do the same thing. So that's why the more that I'm alone without much people around, I'll be fine. Or if I have the ability, like I was wanting to get is the more upgraded van with the stuff, so I could have a solar panel do that van life, because I recently saw that stuff too. So I was like, that would be good to upgrade so I could travel. If I don't like it here, I'm getting messed with, I can move to the next spot. I just have to worry about stuff not being stolen. That's about it, really. But other than that, that's why I was just, it's both good and bad. But that's why the whole freaking situation, almost getting ran over and certain stuff, is why I left Oklahoma and certain things. But living out the van, the travel and stuff, it was good. The first time going through, because I wasn't prepared, and it was just, that's why even me, stupid, or even with my mind being like the way it is and people just saying stuff, was to go and to get like the Supreme Court, go to the court, go whatever it was, because my main idea was to travel and to sleep on the stairs at the Supreme Court, so whatever judges and stuff could see, and then eventually go and work or whatever I may have to out there if I actually get help, or I feel like somebody is, then I could work and pay them off, or whatever donations if it's that serious. But that's why it just didn't seem like it, and getting no donations through that whole thing and only getting one like on my GoFundMe, it's just like it sucked.
Yeah,
Travel
well,
across the whole
GoFundMe
country.
sucks. Don't worry about that, man.
But yeah,
bad
but the
company.
good thing
So
was, but that's why it's just weird is good. That's why I just figured out other stuff with the states of how ununited with smoking and certain stuff, because I had to look up to see which states allowed you to smoke or not, because I'm coming from California, and like me, it's just like I am gonna buy my bud, I'm gonna go and smoke, and when I'm out
amen,
because
brother.
I'm trying to get here. I don't know if it's legal or you could smoke it, but it was just finding out is like, oh, I need my rec here, or this state you can't have it, and then which like federal law compared to the state, because there's a dam that I went to go smoke at, because there's like a nice little part to go and just relax at, and I went there. I went to go and smoke and stuff, and when I came back, I was like, gonna go get some food, because that's why with the way stuff is, just sleeping out and actually being out, as long as I have a sleeping bag and certain stuff, or like a weapon to hit off whatever animal or person maybe, because I don't own a gun, and the way certain things are, I'm kind of scared to get one, but I know it's needed on, but I just
I
know
highly recommend it. Highly recommend, but yeah,
I would,
do
but
it.
I'm
If you
more
feel
scared because
safe
of
or
my life.
comfortable with one, then don't get one. You gotta trust it going in. You can't just, oh, I need a gun, but I don't like it. I
Yeah.
don't trust it.
But
You gotta.
that's why, on a serious note, I don't know exactly how much control somebody has over my body when I'm not aware of it. because I don't want to get a gun and then one, I'm
Oh,
gonna be
okay.
shut down.
Mhm.
Yeah, because what I
Okay.
feel too in a way is like
I didn't
somebody
think
could
about that.
see through my eye, which is weird. So whether how much true that is or not, because that's also what was shown in that show Altered Carbon. They had something you put in your eye and you could have like a computer thing to where I feel like it's like a camera in a way. If people can't see exactly what I'm seeing, then in a way, whatever I'm seeing and I picture it in my head, somebody's gonna know. Because one of the times that happened was I was driving through my city and I saw a stack of tires, and the exact same way it was stacked in the driveway, the Family Guy show that I watched about the next day or two, episodes showed the exact tires stacked the same way. So it
Whoa.
flipped me out. So it's like why would that be? And it's like, did I don't know, it's just weird on however that happened, but it just made me flip out to where
Well,
it's
I
just
mean,
like,
like we were talking about Elon Musk Neuralink earlier, and apparently what he said about this, even though it's allegedly killed like 10 monkeys in test experiments or whatever, I don't know if that's true or not or whatever, but
well,
according to this
some they
Neuralink thing,
got it.
like it's supposed to be
People
able
aren't
to get you
convincing.
to see like night vision and infrared, and you can have like enhanced vision, you know, so it's not too far to say something like that, you know what I mean? Like to say like they're like watching what they're seeing what you're seeing or whatever, especially
Well,
like
just
even with
there's
cell phones
animals
these days they
and
got
insects.
cameras on every one of them, so and microphones so they hear everything we say. Can I tell a real quick story, Fifth? I promise I'm going to tell a real quick story I
Go
wanted
ahead.
to tell tonight. I might have told it before on the Hoffcast, I don't remember, but there's a time at work, it was about a year ago. I was training this new guy, and he was wearing some boots. I was like, oh, nice boots, man. I was like, what kind of boots are those? And my phone was in my pocket, by the way. I'm going to say that first and foremost. My phone was in my pocket, not on. And I say, what kind of boots are those, man? And he's like, I don't even know. He's like, they're nice. There. He pulls up his pant leg and he goes, oh, I guess they're Thorogood boots. I was like, oh, Thorogood, never heard of those. I'm gonna have to check them out because they seem like nice boots. I get home that night. I go on YouTube. The first video, the first ad is for Thorogood boots, and my Google account is linked to my phone. So there's no doubt in my mind that the microphone picked up the phrase Thorogood boots and threw the ad in there. There's no doubt about that to me, 110%. So there's like it happen. It happens. It
It
even
is.
happens just with the phone, you know.
Yeah, that's why it's creepy with me, like I said, because there's stuff that came up on mine were ads and stuff, but I didn't say nothing. All I did was think about it. That's why I
That's
know with
wild.
other people reacting off of my head, that's why I don't know when it's loud or not. But like I was doing, which is weird. Like it's like if you want, you could ask me a question and I could think about it and I could literally say what I actually think about it if I really felt that certain way, or I could repeat exactly what I thought about and you could hear it out of my mouth because like with that stuff without even having any phone. That's why with the knowing how what I know, you don't really have to have service with the stuff that's done to me, or unless somehow there's some other type of chip done to me, or anything else that isn't brain relatable. Either way, there
Do
was
you think?
when I was because
Well, go ahead.
with the stuff going on, there was I didn't feel safe here at my aunt's house, so I decided to go sleep at the river bottom here in the city. So I grabbed some stuff to go sleep out there, and I was like, I'm gonna be out here maybe a week or so, see if anybody comes out to help me to let me know what's going on. And the only thing I really noticed too with all that was the people that came for the CPS because the people came to check on my daughter, see how the room was, and those two ladies, just because I'm weird and certain stuff, I didn't really want to look at them. And it just the fact that those two ladies looked exactly like the people that were walking along the river bottom when I went out there just made me question like maybe it was them, but if so, why didn't they say anything? And with all this stuff, I wouldn't doubt it. And without me having phone service on my phone because I didn't pay the bill and I didn't have no charger, it was completely dead. So I'll just be out there thinking and in the weird ways, just being crazy, just talking to myself just out loud with the stuff like, how is this?
Well,
Like,
I mean,
why
like
all this?
whatever's.
And even then,
I was
when
gonna
it
say
was just,
whatever's in your head doesn't need recharged, though. You know what I mean? Like,
oh no, that's the weird thing
it's,
because
yeah.
that's why on the moments where I was just thinking to myself, I wasn't even saying anything. I was just thinking out of nowhere, this biker was rolling by. And this was at late at night. That's why freaking with the certain stuff, it's scary for other people. To me, yeah, it's scary, but I have no other choice but to put myself out there in a way, or at least at those times that I did it, because there was nowhere else to trust and really feel safe. And if I'm gonna live, I'm gonna have no choice but to be out here or do something else that I don't want to. So that's why I was just like, I'm gonna go and I'm just thinking about all this stuff going on and all this stuff, and this person on the bike rolls by and he just says, "Shut up." And I just stop and I look to the side and I go and walk out because it's just a
So
little walk
crazy.
up to the path. And I just go and I just remember looking and he just stops and he's just messing with his bike. So me right there, just being a little bit scared, not having any weapon or anything. Well, I think I have my bat, but other than that, it was just like questioning it, like, is he gonna say anything else? Because he just said shut up, or am I tripping out? Because I'm just thinking, why would somebody ride by themselves and I'm by myself, and why would they say shut up?
What were
And
you?
then
Do
out
you
of
remember
nowhere,
what you were thinking about at the time?
well, it's just not exactly. I just know it's more of what's going
Because maybe
on.
whatever you're thinking
'Cause
about, he was like, "Shut up about that. Don't think about that." You know.
yeah, but even then, like, why are you hearing my thoughts? Because it's not something I was told, or to be like, oh, this may happen or this happens. We're gonna let you know. Like, that's what's creepy, and that's why it's like messed up. That's why I'm not told this stuff, and why is that even possible? Why, even when that's why on the sad note on certain stuff is because nobody was helping me. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go and there's a nice snow mountain. It looked good. I'll go pass away up there because it made me feel like people are making money off of my body and not telling me, or at least whatever's done. Because just the simple thought of me remembering I did something like this, like a little wave on the passenger side when I was a kid in a car, and then seeing the Mazda commercial do it, it was just like the thought that went through my head at the time. That's why it's weird. It most likely wasn't mine. Just made me feel, or what I remember was like, don't do it because somebody's gonna think I'm copying them. And that's what's weird. Like, why is that even a thing? And to me, make me realize, like, well, what thought would I had, or who was that to do that? Because literally, it sucks to make me feel like I'm copying somebody when I only did that on my own. But I only seen it to where it made me feel again, either people could see through what I'm seeing and saw me do it to where they took it and used it as a commercial, or somebody was following me and had a camera to see me do that, and then we're like, oh, let's put this in the commercial. Because you could look it up. It's an old Mazda commercial where there's somebody doing this wave thing with their hand, and when it came out, whatever when it was when I was a kid, and that whole thought thing made me feel weird. Because with all this stuff, good things goes into celebrities like Linkin Park. Didn't really meet them or see them, but Linkin Park song in the end was the first one that I
Great song.
memorized, or at least from what I remember, like almost for exact words. From what I knew was when I was in elementary, before like around fourth grade or so. But when I was laying there at night, just remember their whole lyrics, and then just well to kind of question now, like, was it me thinking of it, or maybe was it Chester? Because seeming how certain people with certain powers, he was related to other people trying to help out kids, to where what could have been his dad, that Podesta dude,
Yep.
could have been somebody to be the reason why he's not here no more. Because
Mm-hmm.
then what was
And Chris
shown was
Cornell as
also,
well.
yeah, because what was shown in Chester's last video was him at some table with his kids, and his kids saying, it was weird. His kid said something about on a dream about dying or something tonight or whatever it was. Something weird along those lines. And then that was like the last video of Chester being alive. And
Whoa.
it was just weird how, like, why would the kids say something like that? But knowing how certain things are, kids are trained to do certain things or told. Because even me as a kid on some stuff that I was told was because like on personal stuff, like my mom and stepdad cheated on my mom with a neighbor. So my mom ended up telling me one time to go write the word bitch on their car, and it was a white car, and I remember running across to write the word, and I also remember like being told to like ding dong ditch and stuff. But that's to where it's like, all right, well, it's I'm being told, yeah, it's funny or whatever, or even adults, but what if something happened to me? Like, or am I only
Yeah.
being told that because of the brain stuff? Or because if somebody, or even at the time, like, oh, if I mess with somebody else is going to get hurt. So it's like, oh, let them get in trouble, to where it's just making it worse for others rather than being straight up and having things go more natural instead of some big old test. Because another thing that happened before, which I don't know, that's why my mom's not alive, so I could ask her certain things or were her friends or how they met them, because what I wouldn't doubt there are probably medical people to test or somebody, because one person lived next to a golf course, and it reminded me when I went and was sleeping by the river bottom because it's right there, and it also helped me get golf balls to hit with my bat. But that's why with the whole golf balls, it was I was told to, oh, go here's a bag, go get as much golf balls as you can, or go get some golf balls. So I ran out there, grabbed some golf balls, and I remember till today the people in the building that were in the office, whatever, yelled over the microphone to tell me to get off the grass or leave the stuff, whatever it was. They yelled over the microphone to where it scared me. And I ended up grabbing those golf balls and I went to give it to my mom's friend, and she was like, "Oh, I don't want those." And it was like, I didn't think nothing of it at the time till now. I'm like more pissed off. Like, what was that reason then? Like, if I'm somebody easily manipulated as a kid, or is it because of the chip? Or what is it exactly for me to be told to do that if I wanted to or not? But I just the way it felt like I was like, here's the golf balls to you, and it's like, oh, I don't want that. So it's like, well, it's like almost like you told me to, or why did I do it? It's like in a way, like, yeah, I liked it, but it's like, oh, go do it. To where either I could have got in trouble, or feel like now, like a lot of stuff is just added up onto me because, oh, a couple dollars here for the golf balls, or something like where I know I was more of a nuisance to where I'd want to do stuff back in the city if I could, or even on my own end if I on certain other ways. But is because like me growing up, I tested my arm or whatever thought went through my head to see if I could hit certain things. Because growing up by the train tracks, they would usually park right there. So testing my arm to try to hit the metal stuff from wherever I was, I did that, and then out of nowhere, I'm just thinking of like the see if I could hit the window. But of course, either me being a dumbass or being manipulated, I did it. And once I did it, I remember running off, and some guy caught me and getting in trouble, and me and the friend and other stuff. So it's just like certain stuff, like how much normal was that? Would I have done that normally? Would I just, or was I manipulated into it? Because knowing how I go and try to order a soda, or I have today more recently, I'll go and like order a Dr. Pepper, and then it's like somebody knows about me, or in a way they'll go and say Coke real quick to see if I'll say it, or I would want the Coke. Or if I order food, it's like somebody's forgetting my order intentionally to see if I remember it. Whatever it is, like there's so many different type of tests. Like again with the light, either whether I'm by myself and stuff, there should be no light. That's why I just one of the jokes that made me feel like, oh, like I heard, oh, my future's bright or whatever, and I'm a slave. Yeah, at the time, yeah, it felt good because I was pumped up because people are doing certain shit. And I'm not the biggest person. I'm not whatever it is. I'm just trying to be left alone or trying to find out what's going on. That's why not realizing how much cops have power and sheriffs, because that's why it made me feel a little bit more comfortable to realize certain sheriff stuff. Because out of nowhere, there's like some car coming around, just like some off-road one. Just like even in my videos on my YouTube, there's people on motorcycles. So they're just coming around, harass, either punch the gas when they come around me, or do certain things, or have their lights off when they drive around. And on one of the times when that happened, out of nowhere, I just saw a sheriff following the person that did it. So that's why it kind of made me feel good, but with the certain stuff, it kind of makes me question, like, were they part of it? Because no, they're not actually coming out to let me know to say, hey, your life's in danger, or we feel this is done. Maybe you shouldn't say something, or you should be careful because you might get hurt or somebody. Because that's where it made me feel like I got a gun pulled on me because of that. Because I thought I was talking in private to this person in a smoke shop, even though I was stupid, joking like, oh yeah, you pulled a gun. I'm acting like a badass in a way. Like, it's cool. You pretend it because what happened, the exact the thing that happens, this guy was in front of me. He had a Viper. Just got off work, and he went to go one way, but quickly turned to another way, to where once he got up to the light, I went to the side, and I was like, hey, you shouldn't do that, because if it was somebody else, they might get an accident because you quickly turn and all this stuff. And then he acted like he pulled out a gun to shoot me. And he's like, oh, I could have shot you. And I was like, well, you don't want to fight? You don't want to do anything? And just a quick little argue, and then just took off. But that's where I just talked about that to the person at the smoke shop. And then like the next day or two, out of nowhere, I go and get a gun pulled on me. And it's just like the situation right there is just like, there's two lanes. I go and I was like, oh, I'm going to make it in front of the car. So I sped up. So I punched it so I could make it in front of the car. So once it's green, I could keep going, because because the way I drive, I'm a little bit faster than a lot of people, or majority. And that's the way I am. I just rather get from one place to another as fast as I can. Not like I'm not being reckless, but I'm being safe with how I am. I'm not trying to die.
I get made fun of how
but,
slow I drive. I'm a slow driver. I really
yeah.
am. Like, I don't, I go like a few miles over the speed limit or whatever, like between 3 and 5. But like mean, friends who have rode with me, they're like, "Yeah, why are you driving so slow?" I'm like, I do it.
That's just me. I mean, that's why people could be like, "Oh, don't say this, you get in trouble and stuff." Well, yeah, but in a way I shouldn't be here, and in a way my life's worse than that, and that's part of the reason why something so small like that will still happen
Do you feel
compared to
like
me
you have a
being
big
told.
purpose? Because I would say that you've, at least what you're telling me is like maybe you have a big purpose in life, and they're trying to keep you down from it and trying to keep you away from it. And you think that you might have something else to offer, but the way things go, like you don't have the opportunity to.
I don't really have anything. Well, just like anybody, like, well, just live your life comfortable or
I mean,
whatever it is
maybe
that
not
you
like you think you
do in
have
a
a
way.
big purpose, like you have a goal. What I'm saying is like maybe you are someone who can kind of like maybe like talk to people and get people to understand things a little bit better, because I think you're very good at talking
Well, I
and
thought
speaking your
about that
mind
too, like
and
as a
explaining
job,
stuff.
like yeah. Well, I thought about that like something like along like well, I guess life coach, or from hearing from one of the artists I listened to, Dizzy Wright, because he said, and one of his stuff was like, oh, let me be a school counselor to see what they get out of that. So it's like with all this stuff, well, it would be good, like I thought about, but with certain stuff, I'd rather only do it with adults because with the stupid stuff of how people want to be weird with my head and what's been done is the words with hot and other stuff to go around in my head or other stupid stuff when kids are around. And it just seems selective to where the neighbors that were next door before, it it just sucks and it's irritating because they sent out their kid from what I felt on their own to where, oh, just go out because it's like, oh, I'm going outside out of nowhere. This kid's coming out by himself to do the throw out the trash too or whatever. And then I noticed the word hot goes through my head. And then out of nowhere, the parents call the kid inside. So it's like, well, what was that? It's like, did I actually think of the word hot? Because that's pretty sick and that's dumb. And why isn't it not happening when I had my daughter or all the other times I've been around kids? Why isn't it like
I'm
this
about to
now?
call you out on that. Not gonna lie, I'm about to call you
No,
out
no,
on that
yeah, I'm
one,
saying,
but
no, that's why I'll be honest. But that's why
I appreciate your
I've gone
honesty.
through this.
You have to be one of the most honest people I've ever met, hands
No, that's
down, and I
why
love
even
that about
well,
you, man.
one thing to go off another thing was just like with stuff that I mentioned with like last week or whatever with the or even today, like the racist. One thing is the N word. I'm comfortable saying the one, well, it's kind of weird saying it now because I'm not comfortable with you guys, but it's just well, it's kind of, I rather just say the word nigga because I say that because the music I listen to. But that's why if it's somebody that's not comfortable and they're not used to it, that's why I was
Man, you can
thinking
call
of,
me a
well, how would
cracker
they say it?
anytime you want.
It's
I'm
like,
I'm white as snow. So I
no,
don't
no, it's
care.
just not like that. That's why with people, how they say it with the intentions, that's why it's just me. It's just
Oh
like, oh,
yeah,
what's
yeah,
up, bro?
yeah.
Like,
I
what
do.
up?
Yeah.
This and that.
Oh
It's
yeah.
just another word. That's why it's just
Actually,
something me
like
and the homeboys
until the
said, and it
until
was
the
just
past like 4 years or so, 3 5 years, I don't know how long it's been. Like, yeah, like my buddy's not gonna lie, like they said it all the time. It was never because they had anything against anybody else of a different
yeah,
color or whatever. It was just like, yeah, what's up, bro? It was
yeah,
it was that same thing. You know what I mean? Like me
yeah. But that,
personally, like I wasn't big into it just because I sound stupid when I say the word. I'm too white to say the word. It doesn't even sound cool when I say it. So
yeah.
you know what I
Well, it
mean?
just sounds weird
Like
to say it right
in
now
that
because
terminology, you know what I mean? So
yeah. That's why I mean, just talking about it, I mean, to say it, but that's why to me it's just weird knowing how some people could take it. But that's where, to me, knowing what I've actually been through, because not having just whatever the one with the R in it, the hard R, the N word with that. That's why it's like I've been in certain positions and never had anything like that to think anything negative, like, oh, this person did something bad to me. Oh, was he black? Oh, let me hate him and think of all the races. Was he Asian? Was he Mexican? All this stuff to where I already know with all the stuff, it's black and white, at least what they want to make the most of the stuff in a way. Because in going through listening, going to, like I mentioned, to that highway patrol to go to that hospital. Once I mentioned I wanted to leave the first place because being there in the first place, the nurse ended up calling me Big Sean to where it made me feel like, all right, this is weird. Why are you going to call me Big Sean when I never said anything and I'm new to this place in a new state, never been to, but you're going to call me that? That's weird. So I ended up, whatever else happened, I asked to leave and they handcuffed me, said I wanted to kill myself. So when I went to that other place, that's where they had uh uh there was mostly like black people there, and this was actually in well, the exact place was in Tennessee. The first place was Jackson, Tennessee. This one was Bolivar, Tennessee, where I was at, to where the most of the staff were black. And then while I'm there, the N word was going through my head to where it's like if they could hear my thoughts,
Mm.
they're not doing anything really. They're not hurting me if that's what's supposed to go on or whatever it is. I'm just sitting there weird. Like, why is the N word going through my head in a way like that with the R? Because, I'm fine saying the A with all that
Mm.
because the music I'm listening to and other stuff and all that, I'm fine or how I am. But with the R, it made me feel weird, especially being around staff that were black. It's
Mm.
like the N word's going through my head with the R, and it's
Hmm.
like, well, why is that too? Because I never had that ever happen at all, not even in that hospital just before. So it's like, why is that happening now? And then it goes with other stuff. It's just like people talk about either gangs or certain stuff, or just like what was happening at there, to where I know with the Kettleman map, if they have your whole brain mapped out and certain stuff of what it does and what it controls, that's why I already know it feels like I already know when I'm awake and asleep, and they could control my breathing in a way to where if they want, they could stop it because I
Yeah.
was sleeping, never had any sleeping problems ever. But I'm at this hospital in Bolivar, Tennessee. Out of nowhere, freaking, I'm waking up trying to catch my breath. Like, it's almost like if somebody was choking me, but there's nobody
Mhm.
around me. I'm waking up, and it happened at least 2 times. But every time it happened, somebody walked in through the door to look in. And that's where it's like, I know certain things are happening. It's like they're almost trying to kill me, it makes me feel, because nobody's trying to tell me out of nowhere that little rare Howard dude was at that same place. Like, what's going on? Like it's weird. I'm waking up trying to catch my breath. Never had that in my life. Like, why should I have that now? And if there's something on with my brain, like I should be told. Because I only mentioned it once when I was at that hospital, because it's the first time realizing this stuff and being in a legit place as in a hospital or being around anybody in law enforcement to talk about or say anything that sounds as crazy. That's why I mentioned it once, and the person I was talking to kind of looked like they looked behind me to freaking to listen to whatever that person said or whatever they did. It's like their focus instantly went off of me to the person behind me. Same thing happened to me
Mm.
with all the stuff in jail. I'm talking to this person in jail, and freaking I don't know where it looks like he's listening to people behind him. I'm waking up with people banging on stuff, just like here at my own home and certain stuff that's gone
Mhm.
on. People are dropping stuff, knocking on things, like
Yeah, I get
it
that
makes
here
me
too,
feel messed
actually.
up. Like, what kind of monkeys are you? Like, are you little drummer boys? Like, if you guys are gonna
No, I
be
get that
banging on,
upstairs like every morning between like 7 a.m. and noon. Like these people upstairs, I don't know what they do. It sounds like they're tearing down their apartment and rebuilding it. And I don't know what to do about it. It's not
I
quiet
wouldn't.
hours. They can technically be loud. I have to say hi to Wookiee Supremacy. Uh, Wookiee Supremacy, love having you here. And he says you my crack. He's making a joke. I love Wookiee Supremacy. Been around such a long time. Always happy to see him here. Anyways, yeah. I mean, I wake up to that stuff almost daily. Like it's not every day though, but it's
That's
weird.
why I
I can't
wouldn't doubt you're
imagine what they're
probably
doing up
targeted
there.
now too. Just
What's
think
up?
about it. You're probably targeted now too, because you're giving me a platform and you're at least allowing me on your stuff, whether you get a strike or not.
I feel
Because
like
I
I've been
wouldn't doubt
targeted
that.
for a long time. My paranoia is
Well,
already like
because another thing,
it's
well,
been
I'll
going on
say
for
with
years with the headlights coming at me every time I go out. Like I feel like a car always pulls up
well to
right
go off
on
of
me.
more
Or
of
if
the
there's a million parking spots, they'll always pull up right on me and shine their headlights, and that weirds me out every single
yeah,
time.
and
Like
if they
you could have went
well if
any other
you
place, or like they pull up right beside me. I'm parked out in the last lane in a parking spot, but someone will pull up right beside me, even though there's a million other spots, or just like stuff like that. I don't know why
yeah
cars are always so often involved, but it's maybe I just noticed that a lot. So.
yeah, so either somebody good or somebody bad. Just it just sucks. They're just probably not giving an order yet. Because just like with me, that's what's gone on. Because just with my brain and people reacting, that's why with the cars and stuff and other things and knowing people could be harassed. Like one, it made me realize Steven Crowder, the dude I've been
Mm-hmm.
watching and other stuff.
Yeah, I know Steven
When
Crowder.
he
Yeah.
was doing his stuff, there was a motorcycle guy revving his engine, making noise when he was trying to do something important. Kind of like what you said too, in a way, you're doing your stuff or just minding your business. You got people banging, doing renovations, which is what the neighbors right next to me are doing now. They've been banging, doing all kinds of stuff, and they are somebody new. And that's where I know things are weird because out of all the people in this neighborhood, nobody came up to talk to me or do anything except one time this out of all that's why there's usually girls that come at me more than guys because there's a bunch of guys that are over at this house and they it's like they sent the girl over to come give me crap one time because I was lighting fireworks in the driveway. They're like, oh, making the dogs go off and stuff like that, or the whatever. And these people all around have fireworks that going up into the sky, bursting, and I'm the one being singled out to be blamed to stop doing the fireworks. And it's like, all right, that's the only time somebody came up and said anything. But this new neighbor that's been here, it came up to me. It was like, oh, can you keep it down? I got, a daughter and this other stuff. And I was like, oh, I said my stuff the weekend. I was being respectful, but also being aware and telling them in a way, like, I like, no, you're lying because you're new. I haven't seen like your kids. And if so, it's like, they're not here. It just seems like I'm out here out of this time playing my music and you want to come to talk to me to complain. But the way it happened was there's other neighbors out in their driveway doing their stuff, and he went to talk to them first, and then out of nowhere he came to me and those people went inside. So that's why I was like, why, how are these people that came to me and gave me crap listening to this guy who's new? And it's just a whole nother weird thing of other people that were there from before that weren't owners of the house, but somehow were dropping off kids, where I thought for a while it was like a CPS worker to drop off the kids to their parents or whatever it may be, to where that same person was dropping off another kid or something related to the new people at this house. So it's just a weird thing of people in this neighborhood already. And one already like seems like they knew something about my life because I was like sad, either my cousin passing or something of realizing my life. Like the lady out of nowhere just looked towards me when I walked outside and just like made a crying noise. So with stuff like that being told, like there's so much fucking crap. It just makes me wonder. There's something done to my head. It just sucks because it literally I feel like there's nothing done
What if
unless
you
it's
just
like
walked around
somebody.
with your phone on the camera all day? Like, I think you should do that one day. Just walk around and just have your phone camera on, just record everything. But nothing would
It's
happen
just
then, right?
weird. It's just
No,
weird to
nothing
me.
would happen if you did that, for sure.
I try to do like a vlog thing because
Say
like when
no.
I was working at that time in 2018, my aunt had like some money, and I was blessed or lucky enough to at least go to the Dodger game, not once but twice during the World Series. And this was
It's your
when the
favorite
first time
team.
they made it
You're a
at the
big
World
baseball
Series.
guy, right?
I'm a big sports fan. I mean, I
Okay.
love sports. It just sucks now it's more corrupt than what I thought it was or would
Yeah,
ever think.
for sure.
And that's why it sucks to literally, whether it's my thought or somebody else's, but I mean, it's legit that you're growing up raising your kids thinking they have a good shot in these sports stuff and they don't. They're most likely got to either be skilled enough to either go along with the program or you got to go to somewhere else.
Well, some
Because
people say LeBron James is MK Ultra. You know what I mean? Like
I
that
mean,
kind of.
he is. I believe it too. It just sucks he's skilled enough. And that's why with the certain agendas, like with him, there was the N word written on his house and stuff. Well, where's the cameras? You're in a rich neighborhood where there
Yep.
should have been some sort of stuff,
Oh,
but
he's
no,
got a
there's
billion
nothing.
cameras. Oh,
That's,
what about January 6th? Where are the cameras? And a lot of this stuff.
yeah, that's why a lot
We
of
never
things
see the
too.
footage. You know,
Well, yeah,
Las
and one
Vegas
thing
incident.
too. Yeah, even Las Vegas, another guy I've been watching too, is he talked about Las Vegas and how certain stuff was weird with that, where there's helicopters flying around and just shooting from them from certain stuff. And it's a whole weird thing of how that the person with that information is John Colin. His YouTube channel, he does his stuff.
Say John
And
Coleman.
Colin, not
Okay.
or Cullen in a way to pronounce it better because it sounds like I'm saying colon as
Oh,
in like a
Colin.
bubble.
Cullin,
It's
maybe, or
colon
Ian.
as in
Okay. I thought you said
Cullен.
colon, maybe.
That sounds like it, just the way I'm pronouncing it. I was like, maybe I should sound it out better. But yeah, that's why with certain stuff though, like well, another thing before I forget is just not knowing when my head or my thoughts or anything's like loud or live is because like with Steven Crowder and the guy that I got some information from, which was like a Bishop Larry Gators stuff on YouTube.
I know
And,
I'm very familiar with Larry
and
Gators. I followed him for a while. I don't know if I trust the man so much anymore, but I did follow him. I used to watch a lot of his live streams. He speaks a good
yeah,
case on occasion, but I kind of see. I don't truly believe deep down he's a good guy. Just me personally. But he says a lot of amazing things. There's no doubt about that. But deep down, I don't think he's a good guy personally.
yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it just seemed kind of weird too, because I had to question that on my end because with certain religious stuff and then figuring if brain stuff is legit or whatever, because reaching out to him, it seemed like when I would lose my train of thought, because it's more easier to do it now, or when I'm actually listening to somebody, because it's more easier to do it now, or when I'm actually listening to somebody, because it's more easier to do it now, 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 because it's instead of me talking, because of course I'm not, my brain's just not, or my body's just whatever. But that's why it was just weird because I'd be listening to him, and at certain times, same with Crowder, especially, it was with that, it's just like, oh, they're making noise or dropping something. It's like I lose my train of thought because I'm doing something else while I'm watching their live stream. I don't know where something's dropping on the ground or somebody's knocking on a door or anything, kind of like what happens here in my life around here more personally. So it's like, how is that happening if it's live? Like even with the Crowder, it happened when I was driving on the road to where I even have my tweets to where I was pissed off. Like if you're doing this, if you're hearing my thoughts and you know you're doing it, or whatever's going through your speakers on your end for you to react when it seems like my train of thought was more focused on the road at this time than your show, you somehow started banging and doing similar stuff. It just made me question because it happened over and over on certain things. And even with that Bishop dude, like out of nowhere too, like I get here and it's not happening as much, but I'd hear sirens go off, whether it's ambulance or fire truck. And that's what was starting to happen on his show too. At certain times he say
Hmm.
something, there goes an ambulance, there goes a fire truck, somebody making noise. And it just made me question, like, all right, so with all that, the first time I actually had something like that happen was in like 2010 with David Letterman. I'm in my cousin's room. I'm just sitting there by myself. Whether I thought about it or I said it out of my mouth, but he was on his award show and I just see David Letterman and the thought went through my head was to say, "Oh, I'd like to be on your show." So either I said it or I thought about it in my head. He literally answered at that same exact time was, "I don't have a show no more." So
Whoa.
that's where it made me like freak out. Like, what are the odds of that? And like, I haven't looked it up. I
Like
was
you
gonna look it up
responded
today.
like directly to what you were saying. Like
Yeah,
that's crazy.
that's why I mean, I need to look at it, but I'm scared to look at it at the same time because if that is actually there and it shows that, it's gonna make me freak out a bit more to where it's like, all right, well, it's gonna hurt me too because I'm not being helped. And like I figured, if something's actually serious going on with whatever government's supposed to be good, but that's why it just seems to be, fading away with that hope. But that's why it was just weird to think of that and to answer me. And I'm like, what the hell? And then it pans off to James Franco, which at the time he did the Pineapple Express. So I remember feeling dumb.
Great
It's like
movie,
if
but
I was,
James Franco's Illuminate confirmed for sure. Go ahead.
it made me feel dumb. Like if I was supposed to be smart, or if that was like my smart moment, that was dumb because I just remember laughing like, ha ha, James Franco, or I couldn't remember his name, but I was like Pineapple Express because it was like the weed movie. And so that's why I was just like me, just feeling like it was just like weird and just hearing something if I was right, if I actually did hear it, but it sounded like, oh, go ask your grandparents. Where if that's true, it's just freaked me out. Like, why would that even be a thing? Because even with my grandparents, the thing that freaked me out with them was I would go to church with them sometimes because I was always around church and stuff like that. But it was more like what was it? Losing my thought. Um,
With your
yeah, with them,
grandparents?
it was something. I don't know. I just lost my thought. Most likely because there's a dog barking or whatever and picking that up
Oh, it
now. But
happened. It
yeah,
happened.
but yeah, but it was just like well, being in the church, the grandparents and stuff, they worked in the church for a bit, like in the office, like when you walked in or whatever. And one of the times being there, the whatever it was that was being said, my grandma says the sermon is about you. And it just like freaked me out because I mean it was good. I mean it was nice. It was something like I felt, but it's just the way it was, just like already is just weird. Because one thing I remember in middle school, just eyes on me, it's just weird. That's why in this position, it's weird. I don't like it, which is why I'd rather be helped. Whatever comes from it, if I'm helped, good. I don't want to be or have to be on TV or anything like that. That's why I'd rather have somebody make sure things aren't like, oh, we own your body or soul. You're going to get hurt if you don't go and do this interview or come in for this testing. It's like, come on, I need that to know. If not, then take the brain chip off. But then again, it's just, if that's what it really is, it makes me feel like, how normal would I be? Because all this certain stuff that's going on, it's not, it's too much for a coincidence. Just there's many other examples like I shouldn't be thinking of people reacting, let alone knowing exactly what went through my head. Something as simple as this person wearing the same clothes. The next time I see them, and they'll be like, "Oh, I'm joking about how they're still wearing the same clothes," to where it was something I noticed in my head as a thought, but I didn't have no intentions to let them know, like, oh, why are you wearing this same clothes? Like, you're dirty or you're clean. Did you wash them? Anything like that. It was just something I noticed this person's wearing the same
So,
clothes, but for them
do you believe in
to acknowledge
simulation
that was
theory,
weird.
Fifth?
Huh?
Do you believe in simulation theory that we might be living in a simulation? I knew you liked the Matrix,
Yeah.
and that's kind of like a
Well,
thing
in a
on that.
way,
So if like
I
if
believe
we're living in a
so,
Matrix, go
somewhat,
ahead, sir.
and somewhat, in a way, as in maybe more so like your simulation is like the movie Ready Player One, to where your job or whatever it is, your normal life, you go into the simulation, that's where you live. And that's where you could live out whatever it is, rather than we're here, we're dying, we're dead, and then we go on to the next place to where it's either better or not.
Well, what if it's
Because,
like the Matrix where we're in the simulation, we don't know it? You know what I mean? Like there's like maybe you're seeing through the
well, in
code
that way,
sometimes. Maybe
that
that's
would
what's
be
going
cool.
on. You're seeing people wearing the same clothes. You're seeing like the same things going on, glitches in the Matrix. Maybe you have a way of seeing
Well, with
things
that, it
that
was
other
like,
people
no,
don't.
it was like legit thing though. It was just like with the clothes thing, it was just like, well, legit thing. Like they literally were wearing the same clothes. It was just a thought why. But with
Oh,
like
okay.
something like
Well, I guess I was wrong on
simulation,
that one. My apologies.
no, but simulation to go off that, yeah, like deja vu, to where that's where it's weird that in a way, simulation or whatever word or however you want to explain it, somehow the future can be like known or done. It makes me question, like, if there's doctors to literally do what they've done, or scientists, whatever it is. I want to know, because one that I'm for sure was a deja vu, and if not, was done through whatever chip or however things are done, was because it's the first Christmas with my daughter and her mom, and we never set up the Christmas tree before, but we're in the backyard, and my daughter's literally standing in the same spot right next to her, and I'm standing in the same spot, and everything is just hitting me like this is literally what I've done before. I literally have done this stuff before, but I already know I didn't. I literally know I didn't,
Yeah, I've
because
had that
literally it's
deja
our
vu,
first
dude. It's
Christmas.
so weird.
I
I've
never
had that
set
happen
up.
so many times. It's so
Yeah,
weird when you
but
get
it,
that feeling, man. It's so weird.
yeah, but that's why it's like, one, I could say it could be somebody else could be intentionally doing it, like something so small as like a truck driving by, and whether it's Stater Brothers or Walmart, be like, oh, I had that in my dream,
Later,
or I remember
brothers.
seeing that. But that's something simple. Somebody could easily do that. To where mine, it makes me question, to where somebody literally had to either have a camera or somebody like me, similar, to be standing in that same spot, and they just imported that same thing that they experienced into my own brain. So that's why it's like I experienced that, or I had deja vu, because when I was sleeping, somebody gave it to me. So once I woke up, if I could have, once everything, I guess that they did everything the right way, as if they were told to do that, my daughter and the mother, then I guess people would notice if it would hit me the same or not. But that's why I even asked her at the time, I was like, did we do this before? And she said no. That's why I was like, all right, because yeah, because I literally felt like we did this before. Everything was the same as how I pictured it. And I know we didn't, because this is our first time together putting up the Christmas tree. Because I wasn't even, I didn't even know she wanted to put up the Christmas tree. It was something out of nowhere. So that's why it's like a stuff where that planned out with people who know what they know. That's why some people could be more targets than not, because if I don't know whatever's going on, that's more creepy and weird. And I could
Fifth,
go
if
with
you
another one, another story too,
go
with
ahead.
somebody that's been close and shouldn't. But go ahead though.
No, I was going to ask you, have you ever like I have. I'll say that before I ask you the question, just so I'm honest with you. Have you ever like dabbled in psychedelics or anything? Like I've done shrooms, I've done some,
No,
acid,
but
I haven't
shrooms
done a whole
stuff.
lot of other things, but have you ever dabbled in that?
No, but shrooms was
Okay.
one I was wanting to try. Hearing like Joe Rogan, the ayahuasca stuff.
100% shrooms.
That's
Don't
what
do
I
the
was thinking.
LSD. Don't do the acid. Shrooms 100%.
No,
Yeah. Shrooms are
no. Other
fucking
than that,
awesome.
the only drugs, or that's why it's weird, because weed's considered drugs or whatever. But I just done weed, and
And
the only
it's
other
a
thing was
it's a
was
spicy plant. Well,
yeah, yeah. The only other one would be Coke, and that was like once, and then maybe twice. That's why I say maybe twice, but I know once, because I was smoking with a cousin, and they had put it in a blunt. They, because they called it Cocoa Puff. So you put a
All the old
little bit of
spliff,
Coke.
Rooney there.
Yeah, and that's why I remember hearing that, but I didn't think nothing of it. I didn't really think it was bad or whatever. I just know weed. But I remember once I smoked it, I asked him after I took the hit, I was like, was there something in there? And he said, oh yeah. And I mean, I didn't feel nothing, but the next day and for a whole week straight, I was sick. Because I remember this good because it was, I never had anything. I smoked weed and stuff, but was never sick. But he did say there was coke, so that's why I was like, either I
Mm.
wasn't used to it, of course I,
At least it wasn't
or
meth. I've heard of
oh
that
yeah,
happen,
whatever. But
you know?
yeah, but that's why I was sick for a whole week, and I remember being at my cousin's birthday, and I was at Chuck E. Cheese, and I just had my head down basically the whole time because I had a headache, I was sick, I didn't feel good, and that's why with the time that I'll say maybe, because there's a friend that I was close to, and he ended up getting the same job that I did, working at the homes for the mentally disabled or ill or physically, and that's where a lot of stuff too with my life of how it sucks to be treated in certain ways, knowing with all that, but. That's why to go off of that, he was we're just chilling stuff, and it's just like one of those. He said he had it, and he said he was gonna put it into the bud or whatever, and that's why I just remember if I should or not, and I was like, well, go ahead if you want, and I smoked with him, but just knowing how he is, I kind of guessing that he probably didn't put it in there because of certain stuff with my life. Maybe he didn't because he was a good friend to even warn me about a girl that was trying to hit on him that I was talking to. So with certain stuff like that, I mean, I trust him. It's just the whole weird thing of not being told with my brain and not knowing the tensions of people. But that's why I
It's
was just like,
it's
with
happening
him,
right
I could
now.
feel, huh?
The noise upstairs, it's happening right now.
Uh,
Like
yeah. But
bad. Like
yeah, I
oh,
would have done it. They're probably watching your stream and stuff. You
it's
showed it.
so weird. Like it's
Well, either
happening
way,
right
the dogs
now.
have been barking
It
too.
normally
So
doesn't happen at night. It normally happens in the morning.
yeah. But I don't know. It's just weird. That's
Dang,
why a
man,
lot of stuff
dang.
too.
What's up?
But it's just weird. That's why there's just a lot of stuff. I mean,
Hey, would you mind man, I think we've been through a lot of things tonight. If you want to tell some more stories, go for it. But if not, I would like to maybe try to get this done around 11 and then go backstage for the hangout afterwards, if not or not sooner. But if you got more to say, go for it, man. It's just everything I wrote down, I'm out of, but I can listen to you talk all night, man.
yeah. Well, I just got whatever it is that I wrote down here just to get it out there. But
Yeah,
yeah,
go
just
for it, man. I'm gonna take a quick break again, but you go for it, and I can still hear you, so I'll be able to talk about it when I get back.
all right. See, well, first thing is gonna be some random stuff. But one of the stuff that I had looked up and found. That's why whether it's true or not is something out there, but I wouldn't doubt depending on whatever's going on. But one thing I found was like Texas, they're using like hypnotizing to for people to gain evidence to, of course, put people in jail, whether you're a victim or a criminal. It seemed from what I was reading, which I wouldn't doubt it, because if somebody's gonna not really, well, know for sure how things are or say things are more for sure in another way, and basically have it law in somewhat, or what some would also call like pseudoscience. But it's like, how much truth is it if you're hypnotizing somebody and what they say is true? Because just something like with me, if there is a brain chip and people are speaking through your head, they would be just used to where your body's shut down, so you can't hear, of course, and people are just going to be saying stuff through your head or be speaking to you and whatever comes naturally or whatever comes on. Somebody could say, oh, this is true, this is that, because it made me question a story that was said about this little kid who found his killer. Because I guess in the life before, uh, he ended up getting killed, and this little kid knew exactly who he was, knew everything, and they found that person. Eventually, he confessed to the murder. To where it's just like, did that person know? Was it something natural? Or did that kid have some sort of chip and the person knew exactly who it was and they just told it to the kid? So in a way, don't kill the messenger. It's just somebody has the information, they want it, whatever was done, let the kid know. that this person either killed him or killed this other person that he was saying is him. So with that, Texas using certain hypnotizing stuff, and if you're not aware, you have something with your head or could be done just with whatever waves and stuff, then it's pretty scary. If you're not even shown the video to know what exactly went on, then that's gonna suck even more because they don't even want to show cameras with certain stuff and let you record on your own ends nowadays. So who knows with that?
By the way, hypnotism is real. Even like folky, whatever you want to call it, like not folky. What is the word I'm looking for? Okay. So what I'm saying, I went to the state fair with my family one time, and they had a hypnotist there, right? And my older brother got called up on stage, and I've known my brother my whole life. He's my older brother, you know, and the lady, she went through. She's called the Hypno Chick. You could probably look her up, Hypno Chick. But anyways, she went through the crowd, and some people she couldn't hypnotize, so she sent them back to the floor. But my brother was one that she was able to hypnotize, and she made my brother do some hilarious things on stage, like take his freaking shirt off and stuff, things he would never do in real life, like if he was under his own mind control or whatever. And it was amazing to see it happen. And when he came back, I was like, what was that? Like, he's like, I don't even remember much of that, to be honest with you. Oh, I think we lost him. Hopefully he comes back in. But my brother comes back and he's like, I don't really remember much of that. I just kind of remember going up on stage, and the next thing I know, like I was seeing things and I was feeling them, but I didn't realize that I wasn't there. It was almost like being drugged or something, you know. It was like he said, like they made my brother, or she had I don't think they even said take your shirt off. I think they just said, hey, pretend you're a professional wrestler. And my brother goes up there and he rips his shirt off. He starts doing Hulk Hogan poses and stuff. And then they say, like, pretend you're driving a Lamborghini. And my brother's up there, sitting up there, you know, pretend he's got the wheel of the car and whatnot. And it was wild to see my brother doing these things, because I know he's not that outgoing as a person. Sometimes he can be, but at the same time, like, it was weird to see, like, him do it. First and foremost, the look on his face, which I'd never seen that look on his face before, and just the way that he actually did everything that they were saying, and down to it, or she was saying, down to a T. So that's very weird. I don't know how it works. She whispered things to him, and like it was very weird. It was very weird. I don't know if it's black magic, probably.
You know? Well, with some shows and stuff, that's kind of how they show things. They whisper in your ear and something happens. So maybe that's something like
just more
spiritual stuff. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it, because I seen that too, and it made me question what would have happened if I would have went up to one of those, like with something with my body had happened. Because we'll go with the stuff real quick off of the other things over here, and that's why here at a Walmart and where I live, and the restaurant where I was at / bar, just whatever happened, my family was around to where my body was, well, basically controlled and shit. So it just knowing with the certain stuff, like, I was gonna go off something else, but it's just, I don't know, it literally just fucking sucks.
You're good, man. Do you want to wrap this up soon? My mind has been blown so many times. My gears are starting to get a little getting a little slow here, because like, man, we've covered pretty much every single facet of every conspiracy theory there is in the history of the planet tonight. Everything from space to aliens to brain chips to 9/11, the Illuminati, to we've movies, Hollywood. We've talked literally about almost every single thing that. Oh my gosh! Like, it's literally like if
so crazy.
If you're like if you love conspiracy theories, this is one of the best shows you could probably ever watch for just your all around buffet of this sort of thing, because we've hit on everything. It's amazing how it's all connected. It's amazing how it's all intertwined. And that's why we've talked about it all, even stemming down from one single subject. And of course, it was the show. The show was all yours, my man. The show was all yours. Absolutely fascinating. If you have any more stories or anything you'd like to tell, Go ahead, get those. We'll plug
Uh,
you, and then we'll get this wrapped up, and we'll do the after party because, yeah,
and
my
then just
my
other
my.
stuff to
Go ahead,
look
man.
up.
What's up?
Just like another movie that shows some stuff is The Maze Runner. Out of nowhere,
I've seen
there's
that one
these
long time
yeah,
ago.
out of nowhere, these kids got to figure out how to get out of this maze, and they have a certain amount of supplies. Once they get out, they realize it's just like some big old, well,
Mhm.
part of the world's desert or whatever it is, and then there's a whole city that's living and going good. And one of their friends turns out to be used as some experiment to where they're testing his brain and his mind through everything. They literally show him look all messed up because they're testing his mind to see whatever it is that they're trying to do. And other movies with Matthew McConaughey, something like that. There's some movie where there's a pyramid and some kids are on some chair and their like head or what could be their soul, whatever it's supposed to mean, is some light being beamed up to the stars, stuff
Whoa.
like that. It's
Well,
what
Egypt
else?
has. We could do a whole 3 hours on Egypt and all that stuff. Honestly, like that's deep stuff right there, man. Like for sure.
Yeah, and then other things I have with the brain thing. There's an old commercial that had me question things. It was like one of those. Uh, I guess you order something to make your order like your trips online, stuff like that. And this doctor or surgeon had his laptop on top of this patient he was doing brain surgery on. And he was doing messing with the brain, and whatever he was doing with the brain was literally typing out with that person to type in his own vacation trip, basically. So whatever trip he wanted, he was just messing with the patient's brain, and the patient typed it out for him
Whoa,
as he was doing surgery.
that's
And it was
crazy.
and it was just some commercial, like fun, funny.
Dude,
Oh yeah, I just
commercials
got
can be
done.
the most evil things because they're made to sell and they're made to get your attention. Like, how many commercials have there been recently where like there's a sound of a phone buzzing or vibrating or like a cell phone ringing? That's there to get you to look at it, but it goes way beyond that. That's just like the tip of the iceberg. There's very psychological elements that they use in marketing to get your attention and get you to want to buy it, and it even goes, in my opinion, very evil. In my opinion.
Yeah, well, that's a lot of stuff, especially with certain intentions behind things, just to get rid of other things as well. That's why America is freaking has a lot of stuff going on that either people know or can't do or whatever's going on. Money, certain elected people are just all corrupt. But that's why with certain stuff right here to go off of real quick. One thing I found like Mount Sinai, uh, they're they're doing. If I didn't say that already, maybe I did.
I
But
don't think so.
they ended up getting money funded for brain implants or for it to be done either this year or something or last year they got money funded for that.
Dang.
Same as with Mountain View with my life, there's a place which I think was the one that beat out Elon Musk and the FDA thing, or if not, it's this one. Oh no, never mind. That was the other one. This is a NeuroPace is a different brain company or brain
Neuropics.
technology type of company. Yeah, and it's located in Mountain View, California. And that's why finding out something like that to where it's
Silicon
kind of
Valley.
weird because Mountain View, California is this
I don't know if
neuro
it is
place
there or not.
where they have this stuff. And Mountain View was the first elementary school I went to. And the last school I went to was called Mountain View. And it was a continuation school because certain stuff happened, even getting a little bit screwed over, but I don't mind it because of certain stuff. But
Like
eventually
literally.
started off at Mountain View with my schooling and so far ended Mountain View with my schooling. And Mountain View seems to be a place where they have some sort of technology with brains or chips and certain
Like
stuff.
literally, dude, this is NeuroPace, and it says they're trying to cure epilepsy. That is that an excuse? Is that just like a
I believe it. I mean, they probably could, but nobody's really saying all the other stuff that's possible with it. Just like
personalized treatment?
I told my aunt here, like when I got out of the hospital because they had to fly over to get me out, either that or I had to go through court. But whatever it was, the paper I signed, they said that, oh, you don't get to see a judge now. You just got to wait to be released whenever whoever comes and gets you. So I was like, all right. But with that, it was just oh shit, forgot exactly what it was. But oh yeah, that night when I was out at the hotel with my aunt and my daughter and her mom, because they are the ones that came and got me. I told my aunt, because of the stuff that I just went through, where it felt like being woken up, my body's like not breathing, certain stuff, my head. So I told my aunt, if you guys are talking to me in my sleep, don't do it because I don't know what's going on. Whatever, don't do it because it makes me feel like whatever's going on, people are taking that seriously or not even telling me. So that's why if you have whatever they're doing to cure that epilepsy or whatever it may be,
Mhm.
who knows that they could do something similar to where they could either speak through you when you're sleeping or
Mhm.
awake, stuff like that. Because
That's the thing, that they can say it's for that, but they could do so much more with it. If it could do that one thing, imagine what else it could do. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
they're not telling you
that's why if it's for
about.
good, then I mean, so be it. But
I
the
don't
way
believe
it
it's
is,
for
like
good.
not many people know about it. So it's just people being used, and it doesn't look like it's gonna be better. Because somebody like me, I could go around like it has been. I could go and read like some sign on some guy's car, like whatever their business, and out of nowhere they're gonna drive right by around and do a U-turn in front of me. So somehow I'm gonna read it again, or any other people to do the same thing. Somehow people are doing their U-turns in front of me, behind me, all this stuff. That's why even on my YouTube channel, you'll see there's some weird stuff. If you could at least ignore how crazy this stuff sounds, but I could make sense or ask questions on certain stuff. People want to leave it. But that's why, like you mentioned with the heels and that boots or whatever, reminded me of sleeping by myself. Literally a long road to where you could put several long diesels with trailers on both sides. But somehow, where I'm sleeping at, one car decides to park right in front of me. And somehow I'm being woken up at this moment to where I didn't hear noise of anything. This car was quiet, but somehow I'm woken up. And in my video, you can see this guy pulls out he gets over to the side, shows his leg to me, and he has heels on, not like boots or anything, like heels, like women heels, and it's a guy. And he has his leg, and he's just like, oh, whatever. I'm like, dude, I'm not into that. That's not me. And then I know he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And then he takes off and starts doing U-turns around me, yelling at me. So it's like, why is he here? Did somebody say I hit him up, or somebody's telling him to come because they want to test my brain? But that's where it's like there's something valuable in whatever chip and what they're wanting to do. And if I'm not told, then I'm just gonna try to live my life as comfortable as I can without trying to give into things to where even something as a business to where if I have some sort of light or anything good, I kind of don't want to do it because I'm gonna get screwed over. Just like I figured some ideas will be taken because some seem to be in a way, whether it's acknowledged or realized, and kind of sucks. Because one thing with music, I would like to write stuff down, but I'd rather do freestyle because I'm more comfortable with that. But I still
Do
got
you
to
play
collect
any
it now.
instruments?
No, the only instrument I played was trumpet, and that was in middle school.
By the way, I
That
have your channel up here. I forgot to put it in the description, but I will do it after the show for sure. But I did put your YouTube link in the chat, and I'm like, a lot of videos here. I would like to go over these for sure.
yeah. For other
I
information, look up something called PitchBook, because I guess PitchBook either that's the name of the website or that's the another company, but it was showing like all the list of certain companies related to brain chips or some
I'm
sort of
looking it up.
technology
Yeah,
to
right
where
now.
they're getting money funded, and it showed that well, it said Elon Musk in 2017 or whatever it was got the most at 100 and something mil, but right here says something. That's why what I wrote, PitchBook 133 mil, Paro Paradromics, Paradromics got about like 20 mil. And there's like other companies, I guess, but certain people got certain fundings for certain stuff like that. And that's not to mention the Leonardo DiCaprio, whatever one he was related to, because that's who I started tagging and posting stuff and doing that when I first started finding out things. Because when I type in brain chip or put that as my hashtag or brain tech, basically, to be exact, brain tech, he was the first one popping up on what he donated and certain things.
Leo's Illuminate confirmed for sure. He's the guy out there trying to say climate change. You know, we got to stop using gas, but he's the same guy who has a yacht that like takes up as much fuel as like every car for a day in the United States. You know.
Yeah. Well, that's why a lot of stuff is like really like weird and different because traveling across the states, there's states that don't even have emissions, where California, they're regulating it to where it's like, well, that's like something else not you wouldn't think of. Like I didn't like I thought everything was the same. Whatever happened in California with their emissions was the same, like everyone agreed, but it's not like that. Same with like recycling. I could survive out here in California off of picking up recycling, but if I'm in another state, more in the middle, I can't because I got to pay for somebody to pick up recycling. And I found that out because I was saving up cans and bottles to help pay for certain gas and stuff because I only had a certain amount of money my aunt could help me every month to travel. That's why I had to make sure I could live out for a month and so at times. But that's why it's freaking there's nothing out there. I had a whole 2 bags filled with that. I I could have had better space, but I was saving those cans so I could turn them in for some money. But right there in Tennessee, I just left them because there's no place I could turn it in for recycling. There's just mostly like big metal stuff, and other than that, I gotta pay for it to be picked up. You just can't find any recycling place to go take them in for some money, and I didn't even know that, but I found that out. That's why there's only maybe a select few places that have it, but
yeah, sometimes on the cans and bottles they say like you get 5 cents in Michigan, Iowa, Ohio, or there's certain places,
yeah, that's why I've seen a lot of stuff across the country. It's like that's why I don't mind if you want to do another show, talk about that or anything good that I
absolutely for sure. I'd love to have you back on, man. Let's try to wrap this up in the next couple of minutes. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna like do that for sure. I would love to have you on again, man. Like we literally hit every single like topic we could hit on, but like to delve deeper into them would absolutely be amazing. But every single one of those topics could be a 3-hour show easily. You know what I mean? And wow, this show is just like it's a lot to take in. I'm not gonna lie, it's rich. It's a rich show for sure. No doubt, and I've had such a good time.
Stuff seems to be all over the place, but just the way stuff come and to me, from what I remember, try to say it and all that. It's just some might not make sense to people unless you, I guess, would I don't know, be exactly right there.
Hey, Hoffcast is here to let people talk, and just even though I just talked over you. Ironic, right? But no, I'm here. I thought I did a really good job at like not talking tonight, to be honest with you. I felt like I did a very good job at that because I'm pretty bad at that sometimes. But I do like I want people to be able to feel comfortable coming on here and being able to say what they want to say and have a discussion about it rather than having a toxic kind of environment where people would judge you for anything. You know what I mean? And I know with things that you claim and you say that you would get a lot of judgment for it, but I'm not here for that. I'm here to listen and learn, because if you're not open to those sorts of things, then you're only doing yourself a disservice by cutting out someone else's voice altogether. And I can't stand that point of view. Honestly, I can't stand when people are like that, when they think that they know everything and they won't listen to anyone else's point of view, because there's no way that their point of view can match up with mine enough where I could agree with them. And that's the disconnect that I want to reconnect with people. And they don't understand that all the time. I get it. But that's my point of view, is that I just want open discussion, because there's no way you can learn without open discussion. That's censorship, and I'm 100% against that.
Yeah. Especially with the world so big, you need all the voices and try to figure out which is best and right and go through
exactly.
All that.
We should all come together and try to figure this out instead of just finding stupid differences in little things. Like, it's so dumb to do that. We should all be coming together.
I thought that's what government did. Everything was good. If you weren't the smart one, you could easily have the power to get all those people for whatever you needed done. If they could come up and do all these certain dams and all this stuff and have government having control, or states, that stuff could be done a lot better. But it's just really messed up. It's just literally freaking, I don't know. It's annoying. It's just really annoying how, to the point that made me realize, like, here in California, there's a whole freaking ocean. And what somebody pointed out was, how are we in a drought? Like, there's a whole ocean right there. Like, who the hell's doing this stuff? Like, there's a whole ocean right here, but we're in a drought. I literally saw, like, somewhere in Virginia, they literally had freaking a sign that's saying you got to conserve water, and there's only like
I think the issue with the ocean is it's salt water. I think the ocean, it's salt water, and like they say they don't have technologies to filter that stuff out, but they do. Yeah.
I've seen there's a that's why I've seen it was somewhere in some other country or whatever it is, but that's why if people want to take patents or oh this country owns this, you can't do it here if people are doing it that way. Maybe that's why. But I've seen there's a facility where they filter out the water and they have all that stuff done to where it could go to whatever the community or whatever it is that where it's at. And from what I heard, or what could be done too, if it's salt water, you could go and filter that out, use the salt or the sand, whatever it is, and use that as whatever to sell off or put it back to wherever you may need it.
Yeah.
And it's like, come
But
on
that's
now, you
too
can have
easy,
those
right? That's
facilities.
too easy.
Yeah, but it's like, what if we're at the point to where everything's so good, there's enough people and everybody has it scaled out to where you could have a certain amount of food and water and
It already is
electricity
that way.
without
They
having to
just don't
pay
want us
for
to
it.
believe
You
it.
just need the
There's
resources
already
and
enough for
stuff.
everybody. They don't want us to think that. They want us to think that things are scarce so they can jack up the prices and own
Yeah,
us. But there's so
dude,
much land out
yeah,
there. There's so much the open land in the world. There's so much water and freedom. They don't want you to think that. They want you to put you in your own little bubble and make you think that you got to pay for their stuff because
exactly.
you're too busy with your own job making your own money that you can't go out and grow your own crops or food or anything.
Yeah,
And that
that's
is
why
the
too.
case in a lot of reasons, but for the most part you should be able to balance your work life and actually maybe also have, and granted I'd love to one day go out to the country, have my own garden and stuff. Like I think that's the way it should be, but like they're trying to put people in a box where they can't get out of because they
Well,
think that's all they have the option for, but that's not true at all.
yeah. Well, that's why if I could hear what that person could say, because they gave me a kind of like a little like well, I guess like pushback in a way, because
Go
I told
Mavericks.
them because I told this person because I ended up getting a job out in Tennessee for one day, but I left because speaking about this brain stuff and certain things, it was like I was getting crapped on, like they're not believing me and they're doing certain things. So it was just like, all right, with that, it was oh, damn, I forgot the exact stuff now. It was just going along with that and see oh yeah, because I said something along the lines like people are slaves, like in a way, I mean people are kind of slaves with the way things are
We're all
done.
slaves.
And he just like looked at me or said something or in a way to where it's like you don't believe me or no, that's not how it is. But if you look at it, it kind of is, especially more now. You either had to keep your job, is that your whole life and living, or are you gonna move somewhere else? But everything seemed to be the same. You got to do this or that, and or you got to leave or stay home and stuff. And that's why it's just like people talk about more about their job than what they actually do for a living or what they actually enjoy. I mean,
Hmm.
some, if it's actually both, yeah, you enjoy your job, cool, that's fine. But many people don't really enjoy their job and or talk about, yeah, I had work, but well, what else are you doing? Because I just thought about that because I don't really have much to do. And even whether things are comfortable or I'm lazy or I don't want to do things for other reasons, it just sucks to literally know on my
Hmm.
end I wanted to stay home some days because I had enough money. I didn't want to go to work this day or whatever. But it's like, oh, the whole job's dependent on you, and then it's just like the things are set up like I thought about, like 4 hours, like shifts to where everything's just not like, oh, 8 hours here. You could do 4 hours of work, have enough money. You could stay home, even like 3 to 4 hour days a week, something like that, more for the person than the actual job, and let the managers actually manage it.
My job offers those shifts. Actually, I work more than that, but the shifts that,
Yeah.
well, not all the time, but typically the shifts that I work at, they're like 4 hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But
And
like,
it's hard work
uh,
for 4 hours. Don't get me wrong. If you go for 8 hours, you're gonna be dead the next day,
yeah, so
no
that's why
doubt.
like
It's a hard
Amazon and
work.
other
It's a hard
people,
working job. But
yeah, they've complained and other things. Yeah, I could understand some jobs you can't really have like an hour because like me moving company, because that was one of the jobs working with the army or the military. They had a contract to where I was moving the people in the army and the military and over in what was it called? Miramar. It was in Miramar and San Diego. I was moving the people over there at the military base, and then I'd also move other people in the military over in Los Angeles. But it was just yeah, to go off of the other thought, it was just more just forgetting things. And even then, with that, with the job, it's just like that's something where you're moving. Depending on how it is, you could keep going back and forth on like a set schedule of 4 to 8 hours. But since our job, I lived like, well, Hemet at the time, it was like a good hour or more drive at least to get to the job. But that's where it's like you could either do it all right there and you're good, or you're set up into like a warehouse to where you do the job and you get all these hours to where it's more like the boss could tell you all this stuff, you got to do all this because you're set, you can't leave really until your 8 hours are up. So the boss could have you do all this type of work in between, to where that's why I realized some people were saying, oh, I didn't sign for this, now you want to add this, let me sign on to this now if I want to do that in certain things. Because it made me realize that even at Amazon, I probably wouldn't be able to do it, or if I could, not many
I
people
worked at
could.
Amazon, worst job you could ever imagine.
Talking on the chat right now, we're doing 3 hours. Other people do about that, or maybe 4 or 5 hours, but they can't keep going and talking or chatting to where it's like people are doing that with their bodies. So not only mentally you're using your mind, but you're using more of your body. So you're going to be tired. And what? With most of the jobs, what are you mostly going to do? Get 2 days off, so you get 1 day of rest. So hopefully you can recuperate for the next day a week, and then you get everything done, whether it's a family, your own personal life, or even stuff around your own home if you own one. Like it doesn't leave a lot of time. So more people definitely need more time for themselves. Like if I again like the 4 hour
Real
shift,
Cosmology says my dad does 14-hour shifts. How long are your shifts, Real Cosmology?
be
How
like,
long
yeah, that's
are
like
your shifts at work?
ridiculous. Like
Tell me how long
that's
your
like,
shifts are, not your dad's.
your shift's
All
not
right.
bad.
Just saying. If you're gonna be cute, I'll be cute back.
Yeah. That's why like me working at a warehouse, the one it was like one group, like I was on a set schedule, so I could be either from 8 hours, or if it's overtime from either 10 to 12. And I had to work maybe 7 days a week. And even though it's like around the more like the holiday time, but if I got hired on, maybe it could have been worse, better, whatever. But there's people that went and were paid off of the trailer. So if they were paid a certain amount to unload the trailer, so if they got it done in about, let's say 5 minutes, then boom, they're done. They get paid. If they took all day to get rid of the trailer, they're still getting paid the same amount. So it's like as you're getting paid for the
Yeah.
job, you empty out the trailer, to where me
Yeah.
and the other people are getting paid by the hour. We could have done many of those trailers, 10 of those trailers, but we'd only get paid, well, me, the $10 an hour. But these people are getting paid, or however they divide it, because they're doing more trailers, and that's whatever they were paid to do. And it just kind of sucks. Like we're doing a trailer or two at least, and then we're not getting paid as much as them, and we can't leave as soon as they're done like them. I got to stay, and like the other people at the time, go ahead and hide in between the aisles and pretend to sweep because everything's clean. There's nothing to do, but you literally got to just do something or walk around, because it's like, oh, we're paying you what to stand here? It's like, no, so got to try to do something, because not everyone has stuff to do, and it's I don't know, if it's 4 hours, it's a lot better. Even mentally, you could be more in tune, not be drained out. Even if it's 6, 5, that's still better, and you can still space that
See, I
out.
used to do 12-hour shifts at Amazon, and it wasn't hard work at all. It wasn't. I was just scanning stuff and putting it in bins. But standing in one spot for 12 hours, just scanning things, and that's all you're doing, that drove me insane. I would much rather be doing the job I'm doing now, where I'm active all the time, doing all kinds of different things, and I'm busier than I could ever even keep up with, rather than just standing in one spot in my head for 12 freaking hours going crazy, because it gives you too much time to think about things, you know, and you're going crazy, like beep, 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 beep. I'm like, oh my gosh, 12 hours. The next 12 hours of my life is going to be beep, 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 beep. F that. It was the worst. It was the worst. I was literally, I'm not even a sad guy. I'm not depressed, but I was going into depression doing that. It was the worst time of my life working at Amazon, because 12 hours a day of just beep, beep, beep literally was driving me insane. And I couldn't do it anymore, man. It was terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah, that's what happened to one person. I was working at this car dealership, to where it's just like you detail the cars or clean them off before they sell them off to the auto places or whatever. And one dude that was working there left because he couldn't handle the honking, because you got to honk the horns every time you.
No, actually, I couldn't handle that either. That gave me anxiety. I'm not gonna lie. That did. I never had a panic attack ever in my life. One day I was low on sleep working at Amazon. I go in there and I'm on the ground floor. There's 4 floors there, the one I worked at. I was on the ground floor that day, right across from the area where they have the forklifts, and there's tons of them. And don't get me wrong, they have to honk. Obviously, that's a rule. But a lot of those people are honking. Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about the truckers right here in the convoy. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the people working at Amazon, the forklifts. They didn't. They were honking all the time, not because they had to, because they wanted to. They would just drive around just honking at each other, just, and I was low on sleep. I was already stressed out. I knew I had the next fucking 12 hours ahead of me of just scanning shit, and I just have all these idiots just behind me. It literally gave me a panic attack, and I didn't even know what one was until I experienced it that day. And there was 3 hours before my next break, and I was just sitting, I was just doing my job, just freaking out in my head. Like I'd never felt that. I couldn't breathe. It was terrible. I haven't felt it since either. It was the one time, but damn, it was rough. And he's not wrong about that, just to say.
Because you got to hear too. That sucks. So something like that, I would like to hear like music and stuff, but
well, Amazon does play music. They give you a power hour every day, or maybe 2 power hours, and they play the same playlist every time. And every time it starts out with Drake. You used to call me on the cell phone every time, and I was just like, "Fuck my life, no, not again."
See how like they do some stuff. Like I mean, that's just like your work. That's why I mean I could go into other stuff that's happened like at my work on the more serious level, but that's why it's just it's just that sucks. You're working there and they're playing the same songs and you can't hear your
Every
own through
time
the
I knew what the
headphones.
next songs would be. I worked there long enough. I was like, "Oh, here's the playlist," and I knew the next song already. They're conditioning us real hard right now. They're conditioning us.
Oh, dude, one thing I want to say that just remind me, shit, with like songs and something, remind me of fucking Michael Jackson. Oh shit.
Oh,
Um, what was it exactly? Just something weird that I heard relating that could be with my life with Michael Jackson was I guess he had a friend named David Davison or David or something along those lines. I guess it was like a friend of his, and I never heard of that name until I was well never. The only time I heard that name was when I was in middle school. There was this kid named David Davison or something like that, and he happened to be in the after school program with me, and just remembered that because that worker at the in the after school program ended up saying, "Oh yeah, that's kind of weird. You have two first names," so that's why it kind of stuck to me, David or
yeah,
David
like
Davidson.
John Johnson. Yeah.
Yeah, and to hear Michael Jackson had something similar, like a friend,
This one
and
says
I have video.
Dave is Michael Jackson in disguise. I don't know if that's true or not. I
I
haven't done any
mean,
research.
I wouldn't doubt because the weird thing with that, not knowing that, and my storage of the stuff that had been in there since we had moved and never been in there, and then when I was cleaning it out, I have videos showing there's some fucking box in there named David Davison, some random fucking box.
Oh,
Never heard that name inside my fucking
dang.
storage. There's a name of David or David Davison, and the only time I heard that was in middle school, and I didn't know that person. What is
Give
he
me a second. I'll
sending me?
be right back.
But all right.
No, hey, you keep going. I'll
Oh,
be right back. Okay.
but yeah, David Davison. So if anybody in the chat knows or could look up that David, and I'll look up my video to post it so you guys don't have to look through all my stuff. But if it's still there, that's what's weird. Heard that in middle school. Recently, within these past several years, saw that box in the freaking in the storage, and it's fucking freaky. Michael Jackson was one too with the songs of like what he was mentioning too. Remind me of what Michael Jackson. What I try to do was win tickets to see his concert one time, and it was back when I was close to middle school, elementary, graduating time, because they had those songs on the radio where if you remember all the songs or get them right or whatever it is, you win whatever prize, and one of them was Michael Jackson. And I remember calling in to try to win because I had it, and I didn't win. Of course, I couldn't get through. But it was just something, and it's just weird to make me question with a bad name on Michael Jackson, like how true is that or not? But seeing how things are, I believe Michael Jackson was good. I don't believe he whatever kid stuff. People probably just most likely just made it weird or did other things or had their kids do something. Because certain stuff with me, if just a lot of weird stuff of what would be called house, kids playing and shit like that. A lot of weird stuff happened like that with me. and certain things. And that's why I wouldn't doubt somebody with actually money and in a legit spot. And even then, somebody could say, oh, he's whatever reason this way because his parents or his dad made him whatever it was that happened on with his life. It just kind of sucks because because with my life, I had stuff good. My aunt was able to take me like almost like on a yearly basis to first it would be Disneyland, then Knott's, and then Six Flags. Oh shit.
Yeah,
But
yeah. No, I agree with you. We could go into Michael Jackson for a long time. Yeah, had a buddy over for a couple of minutes here. He wanted to stop by. This is my buddy James. He shows up in the chat every now and then. By the way, James,
What up, guys?
you'll see him every now and
Yeah.
then. But yeah, keep going about that. We'll wrap this up very soon,
yeah,
for sure.
that would have been pretty cool because at that time it was his song Butterfly and Rock the World, Rock You Rock My World, all that stuff where
Chrissy
he
says,
barely
"Hey,
came out again, and I don't know, it was weird. That's why I remember a lot of freaking a lot of shit because at that time I lived out in LA for at least like a month and came back to school. But I don't know. There's a lot of weird stuff. That's why that David and then other celebrities, even just a random job too. Just well, working at that what was it, that cleaning place?
well,
They had
Swain says James secure the bag alert."
Who's that?
Let's
here the bag.
secure. Yeah, he got the shorts on. Uh, I'm sorry. Hey, what do you like Michael
That's what
Jackson?
he meant by it. I didn't get it till then.
Yeah.
If you meant.
I mean, there's some conspiracy around it.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
what he was
obviously.
talking about. This is just what we were talking about was the Michael Jackson conspiracy stuff.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
It's
That's why I mean I wouldn't doubt it because I mean look at Kobe. That's why with one weird thing of how the TV, like one warning I put out, you never know if somebody could say something through the TV, whether as you're an adult to make you go crazy or a kid. Because just talking to my aunt when the Kobe Bryant stuff happened, I was talking to her, and the weird thing is just even with my life, whether it's something important or being used or whatever, just the fact that I said Kobe Bryant and talking to my aunt is like knowing how my body can be shut down if there's some sort of chip and whatever is done. If so, what if that was done to the pilot? Like, what if something was done to the pilot to where
Yeah,
he could have been shut down and he crashed?
I've
And
been
when I
hearing a
said
lot
that to
about
my
that
aunt,
lately.
oh,
Where
wait,
like
real
there's
quick,
a lot of.
when I
Go
said
ahead.
that to my aunt, the news that she was watching said, don't believe in conspiracy theories. And then they ended up saying something else. But at that moment, really, like as I go and say this to my aunt, they say conspiracy theories on top of the other stuff that I said, which is why, I
Well,
mean,
conspiracy theory is
I
a
wouldn't doubt.
derogatory statement. You know,
Yeah, but at the same time, it's just like,
it's a title.
it's more, it could be like, or it could be somebody did conspire to actually do that. Like if the
No,
possibility, if you have a something or it could be done to your brain to make sure your body shut down or your brain shut down for any type of moment. It's just like Kobe Bryant wouldn't be aware of it. Although I heard something, I think he had something related to some sort of technology or brain, something related to that, whether it's something related with blue something or if it's something else. But yes, I think something along with
you gotta
something
go.
similar. But that's why it
You
was
can
just
stay as
weird
long
the
as you
news
want.
to say that and how it is. Because I've even seen the news anchors that are on Channel 4 now out here. Somehow, what the story they're saying, they're on Channel 7. So that's why it's just weird. I can't really trust some stuff when I seen these news anchors on Channel 7 with the same 7 on the screen, but somehow that was the only time, and now they're on Channel 4. And I looked up the information, and those same people have been on Channel 4 forever here out in LA. So it's just something like without knowing of what could be done if you're targeted, what they could do to your own TV. Because if I could hear
Yeah.
certain stuff or other things that could be happening, just imagine you're a little kid watching Toy Story out of nowhere, somebody speaking like if they're Woody or Buzz Lightyear to tell your kid, come outside, we got this for you. And then boom, somebody could kidnap. I'm just thinking of it in a
Yeah,
serious way because of stuff like me. I've
that's
almost
like
been
the movie
kidnapped
Ernest
on
Scared
my own now.
Stupid when the troll
I
was
didn't
using
even say
Ernest's
that
voice to
either,
get the
but
kids. You ever seen
yeah,
that movie?
that's why with certain stuff you're being tested. That goes with me. Like somebody told me, or if it was in my dream, to don't take candy from strangers. And somehow, when I went on my trip with my aunt when I was a little kid at the Grand Canyon, somebody asked me. They offered me, I think it was money though. They offered me money, and I went to go tell my aunt and who I was with, and the person was gone. So that's why it's like with something like that could happen in regular life and certain things. But if you have without knowing some sort of chip and the possibility of people speaking through more directly through TVs or whatever that could be hooked up around, who wouldn't guess that could be done, or would guess that somebody would be that messed up to do it?
You wouldn't. That's the issue. Is like that's the whole dichotomy of it. That's the reason it happens.
That's why people should be knowing the possibilities, good and bad, of what's going on, so you're not just being left alone to be picked apart. Because in a way, that's what's done with law. They're not teaching you about what law and certain stuff when you're growing up through school. It's almost like your parents have got to teach you, or you got to do it to make a living when you go to law school or something like that. So it's
Matt
like,
Brooks
come on,
says Ari Shaffir rags on Kobe hard. I got to meet Ari Shaffir one time.
Oh yeah,
great
that's
comedian.
why
I saw him after a show. Got to meet him. It was awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
Even though he almost got canceled for that.
It was messed up to me, that Kobe joke he did. It was messed up. It's like,
that's what he does. You know, that's his thing. You know.
But that's what the
he makes fun of everybody.
Larry Gator, his information ended up saying from on his end, whether how true or not. But that's why he was supposedly Kobe. Kobe is related with a lot of other things, and yeah. That's why with that stuff. Oh yeah, real quick, as I guess it was part of a setup too, because I guess when Kobe was hurt, that's why with that whole rape thing that his joke was about, or whatever it was with the girl, I guess because things that were weird too, because Kobe went to a place to see a doctor, but I guess instead of seeing that doctor at one place, he had to go somewhere else, to where being at that place, that lady was the lady at the hotel to introduce him to go around while he waited, and it was somewhere different than he was expecting. And I think it has something to do with Colorado, maybe, because a lot of things happen in Colorado to where I feel like military and in general is just more like their own state, because that's where a lot of shootings and other stuff, whether real or fake, seem to be coming from a lot. And a lot of weird things, if there is a military base and certain stuff in the mountains there, I wouldn't doubt it.
I think something's going down in Wisconsin as well, personally. I think Wisconsin,
maybe. I haven't heard much of that, but
just all the shit that went down in Wisconsin, from the BLM to Rittenhouse to all that stuff, and all kinds of laws being passed and whatnot.
Yeah, well, that's why too, with that live experiment, whatever Mike Pompeo meant by it, whatever's going on, it's weird because some people are getting trials done faster than others, and that's what's on TV, not even real life people, to where they don't even go to trial, from what I heard and was told, because of the COVID stuff. So you're already in jail and you can't get no trial or nothing because they're shutting stuff down. So with that, and seeing Rittenhouse to go through certain stuff, Smollett, and all these other things, it's kind of like, it's weird. It's like, come on, how much of that is real? How much is it fake? Because with all the stuff, George Floyd got a gold casket to be on TV like he was some random person to be killed. Why does he have a Freemason type tattoo?
He got dragged all around the damn country in that gold casket for 40 days, 40 funerals. I don't know how long it was, but he drug his carcass around that. George Kirby's carcass around this country for a long time.
Yeah, why not any other black person who died? Where's their gold casket? Why did George Floyd had to nowhere seem like nobody important, but was in movies, or not movies, but in music videos with Scarface, somebody who did good songs and was with Tupac back in the day, and whoever else he was with. There's people who knew about George Floyd and knew him in the music industry, it seemed, and he wasn't just somebody that was a nobody, because that's what part
of the Illuminati tattoo on his chest.
Yeah, that's why the information is true. Him and Derek Chauvin knew each other, and they were working together at the place. If the information's right, at the in Memphis, when they would go play, Kobe would be there, and Derek Chauvin and George Floyd they basically they knew each other or were in contact, because I guess Kobe's girlfriend was friends with the owner of that club or wherever it was when they would go out there in Memphis to go play.
You're totally right on that.
That's why, if it's true, why wasn't that even said on TV instead of making George Floyd again seem like he was a attack of some victim of some horrible cop, to where there's something deeper there? Because the picture that George Floyd had, where he had a Bible and he had a Bible in his hand, like something like this, Donald Trump did that same exact pose.
It was upside down.
Yeah, and Trump, when he did it, people were complaining at the time of him tear gassing the people that were peacefully protesting outside, so he could just go to the church to do that photo op. But that's why I was like, with certain people obstructing and doing certain things for a reason, I could see why. But
I
what
also
was
heard that
the
was not true, but
reason?
also I can't trust anybody. So
Yeah. Well, he still went and did the picture because
I
Trump
know
stole
that.
the
I know that's
picture.
true. I
So
just saying,
he
like,
knew
he didn't
something with
tear
George
gas
Floyd
people
for
for that
him.
reason.
Yeah, for a Bible to be in the hand, for it to be a certain way, and Trump to try to do the same thing. There's something there that, of course, people
And then
know,
it
but
looked
they're
like
not
when
saying.
Hitler held his up too, as well. You know, Hitler held up a
Yeah.
Bible a similar way for sure.
Yeah, well, with that, that reminded me with the raising hand. You didn't show the video. If you showed that clip, or I could put it in the clip or the link in the comments after the show. But it was that one where the with the Rod Sterling and
Mm-hmm.
the monkey with the box on its head. Because out of nowhere, when you flip that switch for the electrodes, the monkey's not doing the normal monkey thing like the other one. The one with the box on its head is calm and holding its right hand up.
Hey,
So if a monkey could be
Tiff,
controlled
carry
with a
this for a
box
minute.
on
I'll
its
be
right
right
hand,
back. Okay, keep carrying this
all right.
show. You've been doing it all night. Keep going. All right, I'll be.
But yeah, it's just something like that. Like if something could be done back in the days, how much better is it now? Like you could have a box, it's done, hooked up to a computer, hit a flip for electrodes. The monkey's no more a monkey and it's holding its right hand up. If you have some sort of chip and you're not connected to anything like that, to a computer, well, wirelessly, you can literally talk to somebody across the damn country, or like they say in space, depending on how much true that stuff is going. And it's like, come on now. It's like, whatever's going on, people need to say, or at least freaking let me know, and I can let people know why I'm being used or whatever. Because that's the way it seems. Because fucking this shit, from my life of how it was compared to freaking these last 4 years, it's just fucking. It literally is like mind blown. And go with that. It's like the movie Suicide Squad. They literally have that thing on their neck to where if they go and if they want, they can make it explode. And that's why it kind of felt like with my head in a way to where the word go race was thrown out my head because I was sitting down in front of the TV and I was nodding off and was about to go to sleep. And as soon as I nodded off and like had that little jump, like you, whatever they say, like you're falling and you jump, it was something like that. But the word go race went through my head and it literally felt the vibration of my head to where I feel like if they did it more or turned up whatever it was, I could have my brain blown out like in that Suicide Squad movie, but I don't have the thing around my neck. It's almost like it's in my head or the possibilities made it more because of this stuff. And group that I recently heard that I didn't know were together because I only heard of Outcast, but I didn't know Big Boy was part of a music group called the Goody Mob. And one of their songs back in the day talked about missiles in mind and UN trained assassins and stuff. So it made me question to where maybe that was talked about then in some song, and they seem to be right on certain stuff back then, whatever 90s it was, and now it's just pretty crazy, especially Elon Musk with his stuff trying to be the first one or the only one promoted out there where nobody else really is. Like that's still weird in itself. Why aren't all these other people promoted with their brain chips and why is it that's why it's like Elon Musk is again like anybody selected, it's like you're gonna be promoted, anyone you're gonna be the first one or get the majority of the stuff. And in a way it's just it just sucks because whatever government's supposed to be, they're not good at helping. They're more skilled at killing and whatever it is, democracy you want to call it. Because sure as hell ain't helping people here as much and it sucks to literally feel like I should be gone already because of all the stuff and then not because somehow this brain technology is good or I just happen to be maybe freaking decent, but it's
I think
just
you're decent as fuck, bro.
yeah. But
I love you,
literally just
man. I love you. I consider you a brother, man. And you're definitely a boss. That's for sure.
thank you. It's
Oh, thank
just
you, man. For
don't
being
really have much of that because the thing's just not comfortable. That's why it sucks for my daughter. That's why I freaking if I said things could have been told, that's why I don't want disrespect like I didn't want anything, but just to have the thought like, oh, stuff is done to me, let me at least have a legit thought about should I have a kid or not because of this stuff. And it just like that was taken away and other things and many things. It just sucks because treated one way or looked at a certain way and it's just totally different. I don't know what to say or think, but it just
I mean, I hope I've been a good host tonight and let you like talk. I don't feel like I've talked over you too much tonight, which is nice because I normally do that and I hate doing that. You know?
no, you're good. That's why a lot of this stuff I shouldn't be in this position because I should have people, if anything was legal and good, should have already told me. Let alone I should be reminded, I guess, every day and be going through something rather than just left alone. And yeah, it sucks because I got to try to live a normal life knowing it's most likely not. And
I'm sorry, bro.
I don't, I really don't know what normal is besides, I don't know. A lot of shit just sucks and
I mean,
be degraded by
I
law
know
enforcement, medical people, and family for what they know and can't even say one thing. I can't even have somebody leave a random letter to let me know, but I could have my tires flat on the days I decide to protest, like somebody knew what I was thinking. It it literally sucks. It can't be anything normal. And again, why would anyone want to be around me when I'm shit's so creepy, shit's so stupid? Um, I can't have my brain go blank. I can't freaking have whatever I choose to think to go beforehand. It's just a lot of stuff stupid. Whatever's
I
normal,
will.
I just gotta know I'm not knowing. I can see people's reactions off of what goes through my head, whether I realize it or not, whether I feel something or not. People are just nothing like the freaking before. These past 4 years have been fucking crap. But one thing, if anybody
Matt
could
Brooks
find
says,
out,
"Stay strong, bro."
if anybody could find out, I know out here where I live in Riverside, California, there's the Walmart and the bars uh restaurant, the Laws restaurant where I was at. I know there's video of whatever actually it looks like when somebody's controlling my body. I know people have seen it, and I know there's video, and it's just scary to not be able to see that, knowing that it would hurt me or maybe not help me. But because that whole situation with the Walmart, I remember me and my cousin walking, wanting to get more beer. We're walking down out of nowhere. It's like, oh, I'm following you. It's like, oh no, I thought I was following you. And then I noticed, or he notices that the girl that used to work around the corner at the store that I used to go to, besides similar stupid shit happened. That's why with the stuff, all I remember is like, oh, he should go ask her out. And I was like, you know, I will. And I remember exactly where it was in that store where I asked her out. And just remembering I heard no, but the fact when that happened, just whatever it was, like I could picture whatever, it's like my arms were in front of my face and this way. And that's all I could remember besides whatever dreams or trying to think back what the hell happened because I didn't remember going to the Walmart that night until realizing, oh, this girl's not working here no more. And then remembering I asked her out and then remember a no, but it's like if my brain was messed with, I wasn't mad. I was like, I can't even be mad over a no. It's like, well, so be it. I my fear and stuff is to be rejected. That's why it's hard for me to ask women out or girls or whatever. But other than that, it's just like it's weird. It's just like I wasn't mad. I'm not even mad till today. I'm more pissed off at knowing that something happened to my body. I had a cousin next to me, didn't say nothing. And I figured out all this stuff months later. And there's a whole store of people that saw whatever went happen. And it's like almost like my mind was being raped or being taken control of. And it's like nobody wanted to warn or let me know. And it sucks because whatever happened, it happened somewhere in between 2014 to 2016 at that Walmart. Because I don't really remember exactly when, but I just know after that moment, it seemed like freaking they had security and those trucks now to go around the parking lot to be around there.
Yeah.
Just looked like I saw what looked like my body being thrown out, and then at the same time looked like I was being carried out to where I looked at the ground for like a split second, and I have no other memory of that. And this is all what feels like it's first person view, like if I'm viewing myself being thrown out.
Why were
This
you
stuff.
being carried out?
That's why, from what I remember, it's like whatever happened, asking that girl out, somebody did something to my body to make it flip out or make somebody freak out to where I didn't know or my conscience or whatever it is wasn't there. But somehow my body was taken back home or whatever happened to where I didn't wake up in no hospital or no jail. But this girl, whatever it is, freaked her out to where I had never seen that girl at this Albertsons around the corner anymore. and somehow I'm getting crap from those people, and then they somehow put up a sign to reward their person that was mentally disabled in a way, I guess, because they put it up like to congratulate her, but it's also years later after it happened. So all this stuff's going on, and when I walk into Walmart, I hear from the workers like, "Oh, I'm not crazy" or something like that, as if they're talking to somebody else. But it's like, why is that even being said as I come around? Same with other family members or other things. Even when in that Walmart walking around, some random lady was like, "Don't kill me." To where I was like questioning, like, what the hell was that for? Like, why would that even be said? Even walking out in the parking lot, somebody wanted to mess with the taser as I walked by. To where it's like, come on now, all this stuff seems to be happening more. Something happened to me in this Walmart to where I don't even. At first, I felt comfortable going because I didn't remember anything. But the more crap, like I just explained, happened. So I was like, I don't want to go there no more. I don't want to shop there. I don't want to go anywhere. So I started going to more smaller stores, mom and pop stores, or even if I went to Walmart, I started going to the one over in Corona where I live, or the one in Moreno Valley, somewhere different besides that store. But more crap and stuff weird wherever I go. It's like somebody knows where I'm going, whether I put it on my GPS to know where I'm going, or it's just like, oh, that somebody heard my thought or heard me say it out loud in a way to where now I'm going to get a coupon. So somebody's going to know I might use this coupon and go to the liquor store or go somewhere. And it sucks. That's why I know it, whatever's going on, it's happened, even with my daughter. The last time we're at the Knott's Berry Farm with my daughter, somebody randomly walking by started talking about the brain stuff or hearing thoughts. And it's like, really? Like, how many times is this going to happen when I go around, and literally homeless people have that same power? And there's no government people to be fucking respectable or honored to say anything? Even people in the army or military to die and kill for freedoms, but they're dying for this freedom to where people have more freedoms over a body and a life than I do. I'm not even told that I could go and be a doctor to have some, like, somewhat slave control over a person's body. It's like, if I wanted to be that messed up, then let me be it. I don't even have that freedom. But even then, that's what's done. I'm not being whipped or hurt for somebody to see, but I'm getting shocked in my head or whatever's going on.
Can I ask you this? Do you have any hope? Do you have any hope for the future? Do you think that you can escape this, that you can get away from it? Is there a solution? Do you think is there a way?
That's one thing I just know with the way things are. It just sucks for anybody else. Like, I just know for my daughter or anybody who would actually care, but just the way things are, like, I mean, I do have hope, but I mean, I don't know, it kind of sucks.
I think there's hope for you, man, for sure. You're extremely smart guy.
I mean,
you're
there's
extremely smart. You're extremely intuitive. I think you're an extreme empath. You know what an empath is?
I just know whatever's going on. That's why with this stuff, I'm putting myself out there because in a way I have no choice, or just let somebody shit on my name or whatever's gone on, or to shit on other people.
We're here to do.
No, not that. No, just without me saying anything. Because if I didn't speak up or say anything or realize people were gonna be a certain way or allow certain things to go on, whether they realize stuff or not. That's why it's like I never would have known, or anybody probably would have known certain stuff could be done to a body or whatever's going on besides whatever was going on the first 27 years of my life. I'm 31 now. And it's literally sucks to literally have everything change and literally not be told.
I think it's extremely.
I mean, it's not like I was perfect or had the best thoughts anyways. I was still weird and kept to myself or did certain things. But it just, again, it sucks for when I drink or smoke. Nobody really had any problems really at times, but other times it just seemed like, oh, it was going to be blamed on weed or smoking or me drinking beer rather than either if I was a dumbass who chose to do something, whether I knew it was right or wrong or thought, oh, it's nothing important, that I would feel like, oh, it's hurting anybody or it's really that bad, or something like, I lost my thought, but it just reminded me of other things. That's why it's just, I don't know. There's just so freaking much.
I know, man.
I draw blanks at times because there's so much, or even then, there's something I thought about that I could say, but if I don't say it the right way, it's just gonna sound like all stupid and more messed up.
No, man, you've done. This has been like awesome tonight.
It's just more like stealing and certain stuff because, like with the N word, is just something similar of how things are messed up. Because if I see something nice, like at certain times when I was sleeping out on the road, out in the river bottom, not when I was here at the house. I'd see nice stuff as I'm walking by or doing whatever. Oh, this car looks nice, that house looks nice. But instead of that, it was almost like my thought of thinking of that's nice turned into steal. So it's like, oh, I see something, oh, I like that car. It's like, oh, steal. It's almost like somebody was trying to make me steal, but it's like just like what happened in the hospital where I was at. Somebody put the word kill through my head because there's no reason for it. And somehow the doctor called over my aunt and they just looked at me. And it was like, well, that made me question and realize stuff. If something's put through my head, if it's my own thoughts, then let me know. Or at least let me put details to the word kill if I want to do it. Or is it something because I play a video game and I kill people on there on certain games? Like, what is it? Because even then, after going through that, I would play like the game that I love a lot, The Last of Us. And even in
Great
there, it was
game.
just, yeah, even in there, it's just a lot of couple weird things that happen in there. But it's just something I love. And it's just something that similar happened with that. And even with the game design, the car that I ended up having that I love the shape of it because of who I grew up and the other person had that same car. They had that car in the game. And then the new one, that's something I call my daughter too, to go off topic off a little thing of what I say or something in my private life of how it's taken in a way from what I feel is I call my daughter Lil Shit. That's that's my nickname for her because either she does something like a little shit that's funny, or maybe she does something that's bad. So oh, you're being like a pain, but you're my little shit. Like it's something I call her, and that
Yeah,
was
my dad's
something
called
that
me way worse, so that's cute for sure.
no, it's just something very cute, like not something like a different way, like oh, you're my princess or something that kind of weird for me as a guy or in certain ways to say. Which I mean, I don't mind. It's for my daughter. If anyone wants to give me crap, then whatever. But that's why it's just certain things of just like oh, I call her my little shit. Just thought it was funny. It's something not like oh you're shit, like I hate you or anything like that. Because if it was, then yeah, that wouldn't be your nickname. I wouldn't like saying it to her. But
It's
something like
funny
that.
though. I like it. Like
That
I grew up, my dad called me every name in the book since the day I was born till now. He still calls me, "You son of a bitch, you mother." Like he does it all the time. It's almost a term of endearment, not all the time. Not all the time. A
Yeah,
lot
I
of the
get it. Well, yeah, that's what it is, like term and endearment for her.
time.
That's why hearing with The Last of Us, with all that stuff, like hearing that in the newer one,
Mm.
there's these little kids playing in the playground for one of the missions, and it's like, oh, you little shits, get over here. And it was like, all right. And then recently, back in November, going to one of the art craft shows out Norco, where I always go with my aunt a lot. And over there, one of the vendors that they have because it's like you create your own crafts and you can sell it whatever you want type of stuff. And one of them they had printed on the shirt said little shit to where I literally made me question like really is like I mean that's messed up. Like I already had thoughts of not wanting to go there. Same with the powwow. I'm not gonna go to powwows anymore until I'm told the truth or unless I go to Oklahoma to my tribe or whatever it is for the actual biggest powwow that they have. And then I'll probably go to that just so I could go and experience it because of the certain stuff that's gone on and not being told here as well. So that's why with that little shit, somebody took that and was like, well, you can make money off it or whatever. I mean, I have no choice. I have no say in the matter, but it's something I call my daughter. But if they heard that and only got it for me, then yeah, that sucks. Like if I got it for somebody else, then yeah, let me think about who I got it from and why I'm using it if it's because of somebody else's reason too. But it's just weird with that. And it's just like, I mean, come on now. That's why the whole powwow thing, it just like other people just messing with my brain or seeming like people reacting. I was literally real quick off of that powwow one was because I was looking at the time. Usually it starts at 10 or whatever the grand entry, and my aunt likes to see it, so we're there. And somehow it seems like they're being late. It's like almost a half hour later, and I'm like, all right, well, they're not doing this. It seems weird. Maybe they're going off in my head because also I thought about my aunt that I haven't really talked to or been close with since I forgot to call her twice when I was in high school, and she came to pick me up. So because of that, it's been kind of like whatever. But that's why somehow out of nowhere she was there at the powwow. It was like almost like she heard what I was thinking and she was there to see if I were to say anything to where again it made me not want to say anything because it's weird. Just the fact that that's happening and the people at the powwow because I decided to leave at that moment. As soon as I got up, all I heard was over the microphone was like, "Don't leave." So again, I just left with my daughter and I told her, I mean, can't I don't know what to do. Like literally whatever's going on, nobody's telling her. And it happened to us to where that's why I don't eat at McDonald's because of the stuff. It seemed like I had to speak up in certain things or why I'm not as comfortable with other people I'm around. Same with Carl's Jr. Literally had a security guard stop my daughter from using the restroom. That's why it's like, come on, people know exactly what's going on with my head, but I have to prove that they're going off of it when other people know. Like it's messed up. Because also too at that Carl's Jr. I had bought food there and literally, we went through. And even then the people didn't even ask if I was gonna eat or if I had already bought food or whatever their reason. They just knew for some reason I was just picked out to where it's like, oh, you can't use the restroom unless you well, whatever it is that they say you buy food or whatever. So that's why with certain stuff it's affected me and my daughter and other things and it's just literally retarded. There's stuff that I would want to do, but I don't want to do.
Hey, Fifth, we really have to wrap this up soon, man.
Yeah,
We
no
got to
problem.
wrap this up, man. We've been, I apologize because my brain, like I said earlier, like it's just like all of this stuff is very mind blowing to me. And even when Hoff hears a little tiny bit of information, it takes him like days to absorb it. So everything that you just like fed us for the past almost 4 hours has been just like, whoa, my brain's just like blowing up.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
there's other stuff I can
Absolutely.
mention too. There's
I know. We will definitely do another stream for sure. This one went so awesome. I will definitely have you on. We could do a bunch of streams for sure, man, where we can
like
go over a
how
lot of this
usually
stuff.
things go. I'm not gonna kill myself. If I do, I'll let you guys know.
Thanks for letting us know, man. Yes. Oh, cool.
That's why.
Cool.
Well, to be
That's
honest,
very
I
good to
did
hear.
because of stuff and certain things. Like, I mean, I am serious. Like, it does suck. Why should I have to suffer along through this life to where if you're reincarnated, you could easily come back and do better, or if not, then you don't have to worry about nothing. I just have to, or anybody would have to be worried about any loved ones that care about you or would need you going forward. But in a personal way, you don't really, from what I know, like it's like if I'm shut down or certain things, I don't know if I'm awake or sleeping until I wake up and it's like, oh, I guess I went to sleep. Other than that, it'd just be like I could sleep forever unless somebody's messing with my brain. But that's another fear that I've seen with other shows and movies what could be possible.
Yeah.
If it's possible, I don't want to be stuck into some computer to where I'm going to be messed with or whatever.
No.
But if I am, that I best believe I'm gonna try to screw up somebody's shit.
You'd be hacking.
I will.
I
mean, if I could, in that way, because of what they've
havoc.
done to me and others, if I could. But that's why I'm not in any position of military or army, and I wouldn't mind joining it for good from what I thought it was. But I already signed up for selective service for stuff like that because I wanted to be a police officer. But knowing you can't smoke weed was like, nah, maybe I'll wait.
Would you go fight in Ukraine for against Russia? Would you do that?
Depends. That's why with the stuff, it's a lot of lies. And with me personally, I don't want to fight or defend anything unless I'm giving my own truth and justice and whatever's going forward for me and others. Because unless I'm the only one not told, then that sucks. Then it's like a Truman Show. Like all that stuff put in one together. It's like people just want to whatever it is, and it literally does. It sucks because I can't enjoy it. It's not like somebody told me and gave me a book on what to do, good and bad, what happens. Somebody could be whatever reasons. I don't know, but I shouldn't have. I don't know. There's so much, but if that stuff's possible, I would try to hopefully mess it up or do something good for whatever the reason. Because
I think you're a good person, man. I really think you're a good person. Do you mind if I go through the chat and we go to the backstage after this? I'll put the invite here if you're cool with that.
I'm some water because I've been licking my lips a lot because I've been having cotton mouth and stuff.
Yeah,
I've been thinking in my head how I look. Is it like
James was here?
LL Cool J and stuff. Like, let me lick my lips. Stuff.
Yeah, I'm about to have cotton mouth. That's why James was here. Anyways, I'm gonna say thank you.
Got that cotton mouth.
Oh man, you carried the show like a boss, man. Oh my gosh, what there's just so much in here. I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna try to say
you're better than Joe Rogan. You had me on. I reached out to him twice, and he literally talked about that mind reading being possible in 2 years on his show with that Lex Fredman just before he went to the Spotify. And I'm over here on your show before his. And I was already.
I'm not nearly as big as Joe Rogan, but thank you.
Well, yeah, but even then, it's just like if it's something important, you would like the information, or at least try to talk it out there.
I want to talk to everyone. I want everyone's voice to be heard. That's why I put hashtag ban censorship and hashtag truth, hashtag freedom in almost all of my shows, because that's what I believe in. There's like, I have to do all of my Hoffcasts in a different language. Every time I read through an article, I'm trying to read through it a little bit ahead. So I have to like adjust my words before I get to it so they don't censor me, because I know they will, because they have so many times. I've got so many strikes on YouTube. I'm like,
that's why I try to
it's
do
crazy.
It, and other stuff, not say it.
Yeah, but like, so I know it's crazy, but I want everyone to have a voice. And I think being open to discussion right now in this day and age, and open to listening to what people have to say, is more important than it ever has been in our lives, hands down, right now. Because everyone wants to point fingers right now. Everyone wants to think that they're right and they know what's best for everyone else. Everyone wants to tell everyone else what to do, but nobody wants to listen to anybody else anymore. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, nobody wants to listen anymore. Everyone wants to talk and tell everyone else what to do. And I want people to be able to come on Hoffcast and talk. And granted, I went a good almost 4 hours tonight without going on a rant, so give me a break here. But
more of me on my rant, or
no. That's why I have you on,
or whatever somebody's going to take it as.
But it was an amazing show tonight, and that's why I have. And it's my pleasure to have you on, Fifth. Let me go through the chat, man. Let me go through it real quick. We're gonna wrap this up. We're gonna hang out and talk backstage for a little bit. I think I put the invite in the chat already. I think I did. So if you want to come backstage and hang out for a little bit after the show, we're gonna wrap this up. So I want to say thank you here to all you bosses: Chrissy, Terratober Chrissy, Jess Boswell, Trumpy Bear, Nick, Mr. Hugh, Mitz. Love Mitz, LaSween. I love you all, by the way. LaSween, Courtney. We got, let's see who else here. We got so many people here. I'm sorry if I miss you, by the way. I'm sorry if I miss your name. I really am. Real Cosmology. Always, always want to make you think there, old Real Cosmology. I know Brandon was here, and I'd like to have James on the show. The Enlightened Bank, he was here, or she, I'm not sure. So I'll just be fair on that. Wookiee Supremacy, Matt Brooks. I'm sorry if I missed you. I'm just scrolling through. There's been a ton of chat tonight. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Also, visit Hoffcast.com for all your Hoffcast needs. And before we go, I wanted to share once again Fifth 90s, his channel. And I put the link for his I'm going to put it up again here in the chat, his YouTube channel.
That's why I mean, all that stuff's like crazy. That's why I mean, I wouldn't mind putting myself out there. Well, like right now, like I dressed up nice to talk about this stuff, but a lot of that stuff, it was more of happening as it went on. So that's why a lot of videos does make me look crazy or sound crazy.
You go back to my videos for sure.
Some of them I did have beer and drink, but that's why with all the stuff, like regardless of that, it's just, oh yeah, I'm not stupid or crazy with the certain stuff that's going on. I mean, it does sound like it or whatever, but
I think your honesty means more than anything to people, and I think that's I wish I was as honest as you are, man. I really do. And I'm not saying I'm a dishonest person. What I'm saying is, like, I wish I had the guts to speak about my life the way you do, man, because there's a lot of things in my life I don't even like to remember, honestly. Like, I just want to kind of put it away and lock that up and never
having no choice. What I feel is like, well, people would already know about everything. Almost like what's saying, we know more about you than yourself. And with certain stuff, that's why it kind of feels, but people have been getting that wrong, assuming or whatever. That's why it's just weird. That's why I just, yeah.
Bosses, start coming backstage. Now's the time. We're wrapping up. Now's the time to come backstage, and we're going to get the after show going. Oh, my gosh.
One thing, if anybody could find that, or any questions you could ask after or whatever, I could answer them on the channel and stuff, go on to in the comments. And also, if anyone could find the video, whether it's from the Twilight Zone or whatever, older, like around that time type of show, but it was about a guy in a courtroom, and he was being judged on his life, and what they're showing was all his memories from being a kid. He was literally going, showing everything like in the first person view of him being from a little kid to growing up, and they were judging him in a courtroom on his life from that all that experience. So that's what it kind of feels with me, not knowing and looking up the experiences I had. It's like, well, if that's possible and what's been done, if it was 3 or when I was born, just whoever could find that episode or what exactly show that was that showed that, where the guy being judged in the courtroom over his memories from his past and stuff, that would be nice.
That's
So I tried
crazy. It's
looking
kind
it
of
up
like going
and
to
I can't
God,
find
right?
it. Is
Like
what?
when you die and they show your whole
Yeah,
life
yeah,
before
that's
your
why it's
eyes
like,
and you get judged. You know.
yeah, it's like God, but it was showed everything like a courtroom as it is today. That's why it kind of freaked me out to where it's like, well, that's what could be done. It's like, from what I heard, if people are being censored on their platforms for what they say, it's another thing why I feel in a certain way or being helped to be in a certain way for this. Because if people are getting censored for what they write and type, imagine somebody like me who could get censored or hurt because of what you think, and people don't realize somebody could even be saying stuff to you or what they're hearing, and it's not even your own thought. Because something similar that made me realize, if you look at the comedian Mark Norman, is one of his things that he mentioned was there's a brain chip they want to put into people. So when you think about eating, it will shock you so you don't get fat or big. And that's kind of like how they want things in a way, people to be healthy or whatever it is. And again, I believe it's probably not for your own health, just like a lot of things, it's more for somebody else's. Whether it's organs for people to be healthy, if something goes wrong, it's for better.
Fifth, we're starting to get a big.
Sorry, it's going on another thing, but yeah,
We're starting to get a big backstage here. So let me ask you one last question, and then we're gonna go backstage. All right. What do you love most in your life?
Love most of my life, well, my daughter and whatever family or anything good, really, whatever makes me feel good that I can enjoy going forward from either what I missed or.
I think you should take that and
whatever.
you should run with it. I think you should find what you love and you should really like put a lot of energy into that, because I think that will really help a lot of things. And because I'm trying to do the same thing myself, brother. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to find the things that I love, that even if it's little things, I try to find the little things that I love, and I try to appreciate them and try to enjoy life through those things. And life is hell, don't get me wrong, but I think if we can, as much as we can go on the little things that make our lives bad, I think we should go on the little things that make our lives good and prop them up even higher than the things that make our lives feel like they're not worth it sometimes or whatever. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that sounds good. That's a good way to put it. I like that.
Fifth, thank you so much for being on tonight, man. Thank you so much. Like I said, we went through everything. What a great stream. You're a good person. I love your honesty. Would you like to say anything else besides good night to the chat, the viewers?
Yeah, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you, Hoff, for having me on. I don't really have anything to plug. It's not like I have anything for money. I'm not really out there asking for donations. I'm not out there protesting or whatever. But with stuff like that, yeah, just hopefully stuff goes good. Anything legal. So if I'm some freak show to be out there for people to use and enjoy, at least let me know and at least be compensated, or at the very least not be hurt for anything. Because
I'm on your side, bro. I'm on your side, man. You got good people on your side. Let me tell you that. That's for sure.
Yeah, anything like that, anything, whatever ideas, if they're good on my end, if people like, then yeah, try to go for that or help me out with that. That's about it. But on that, just yeah, I'm just gonna be looking for legal help and just be posting it to you if I find a lawyer, and then
I'll try to share that with people as well. I really will.
Yeah. Fifth, I just hope somebody signs the paper or whatever, so it shows me how much I need to pay. If I don't pay it then, or if I need donations to help going forward, then good. At least I'd had that paper with somebody legal as an attorney or lawyer to be like, oh, okay, he's serious, or somebody's taking him serious, then you could at least donate to them or something. Because like I said, I traveled across the country and only got one like on my GoFundMe. Not even one.
Yeah, fuck GoFundMe. All right, we're 4 hours, man. We have to end this. We have to at this point. I'm sorry, man. I'm my pleasure having you on, bud. And this has been absolutely, like, we've hit every topic. It's been amazing. And please, if you need support, there are ways that you can go about it. And I hope, I know myself included, I hope other bosses will help you out if you need anything. Okay. I really do. And my pleasure having you here, Fifth. I love you, bro.
Take care, everyone.
Cheers to you, man. And I will have you on again. I will have you on again, and we'll talk about some deeper dives for sure. So thank you all, bosses, for watching tonight. I hope I got to you all in the chat. I want to thank Fifth 90 for being what a great guest tonight. And I will see you all on Tuesday. Thank you very much. I'm signing off. What a great show.
All right. Take care.